Back at the World Center of Racing, closing in on opening ceremonies here. Once again, it's a 75-lap exhibition race. No points, but there will be a caution at lap 25. They can only go about 40 laps on fuel, so they will have to stop after that before they get to the conclusion of this race. Now, 1 year ago, Jimmy Johnson won it after a big accident involving all but 3 of the cars in the race. That came at lap 59. Another housekeeping note, Joe Gibbs Racing drivers have won 4 of the last 8 clashes with 3 different drivers, Matt Kenseth, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Busch. Meanwhile, Stewart Haas Racing and Chip Ganassi Racing have never won the Busch Clash at Daytona. All right, we've heard from all the drivers. Let's head trackside now to get opening ceremonies kicked off at the World Center of Racing.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Daytona Beach Police Department Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Marcus Buckley, lead pastor at Oasis Church of Ormond Beach, Florida, offers our invocation.
Would you join me in a moment of silence in honor of John Andretti? Let's pray. Lord, we are so grateful that you give us a beautiful day here at Daytona International Speedway. We thank you for John Andretti and his life and his passion for motorsports. And we pray that you would be with his family in a special way, that they would know your love and your mercy and your grace. Father, we pray for a safe race today. We pray for all of our drivers, our crews, our teams, that you would be with them, that you would protect them. Lord, we thank you for sunny skies and V8 engines. Be glorified today, and we pray this in your matchless name. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem from Palm Coast, Florida, please welcome Melissa Trumbull.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Melissa Trumbull with our opening national anthem of the season here on the Motor Racing Network. All right, we've heard from the drivers. We've run through the numbers. Now let's meet the starters in today's field.
Here's the starting lineup for the Busch Clash at Daytona. Row 9.
Denny Hamlin, Chesterfield, Virginia.
Kurt Busch, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Row 8.
Jimmy Johnson, El Cajon, California.
Austin Dillon, Welcome, North Carolina.
Row 7.
Brian Blaney, Hartford, Ohio.
Joey Logano, Middletown, Connecticut.
Row 6.
Eric Jones, Byron, Michigan.
Chase Elliott, Dawsonville, Georgia.
And now, the top 10 starters. Starting 10th.
Kevin Harvick, Bakersfield, California.
Starting 9th.
Kyle Busch, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Starting 8th.
Alex Bowman, Tucson, Arizona.
Starting 7th.
William Byron, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Starting 6th.
Glenn Boyer, Emporia, Kansas.
Starting 5th.
Eric Almirola, Tampa, Florida.
Starting 4th.
Kyle Larson, Elk Grove, California.
Starting 3rd.
Martin Truex Jr., Mayetta, New Jersey.
Starting 2nd.
Brad Keselowski, Rochester Hills, Michigan.
And starting on the pole,
Ryan Newman, South Bend, Indiana.
that's the starting lineup for the Busch Clash at Daytona.
18 drivers in today's field, including 7 former winners, led by Kevin Harvick with 3 and Jimmy Johnson with 2. Now it's time to head upstairs to the gentleman who will guide us through this afternoon's broadcast, Jeff Striegel, Alex Hayden, and former Clash winner and NASCAR Hall of Famer Rusty Wallace.
Thank you, Woody Kane. Man, what a great job by the guys down on pit road. Winston Kelly, Steve Post, Dylan Welch. They talked to all 18 drivers as we get set, Alex Hayden, to start this NASCAR season the way that we have started it for 41 consecutive years now with the Busch Clash. 18 drivers, 75 laps. Hold on, it's going to be a good one.
You can call this a way to knock the rust off. You can call it, let's go get a big trophy. You can call it, let's go get a big check. Bottom line, Rusty Wallace, this is an opportunity to win a race and win it at the World Center of Racing.
Yep, and it pays a lot of money, too. And this is a race that everybody really wants to be in. And here's one of the main reasons. If you're in this race, you just get extra practice for the 150s. And if you're in the 150s, you get extra practice for the 500. It's all about getting more track time, tuning your car up, and getting that baby as fast as you can probably get it before you go into the Daytona 500. Now, I know these are not the cars that are going to run in the 500, but really they're almost identical, and they're going to learn a lot because of today's race.
This is music to NASCAR fans around the world. In a moment, you're going to hear the most famous words in motorsports. It's almost time for the Money Lion Roar of the Engines. Money Lion, here we roar. And I say that, Alex, because for most of the fans around the world, they haven't seen a race yet. They've just been sitting there waiting since we last left them in November, and the anticipation for this race, it always just seems to build, and the excitement around this race, you just don't get it any better. This is so cool.
It's kind of like the first day of school. You come back, you see all the new shiny things that everybody's gotten, getting ready for the season. It's that time of the year. It's time to go racing, and there's not a better place to do it than Daytona Beach, Florida. A few puffy clouds overhead, mostly blue sky, and temperature hovering around 70 degrees. The wind is blowing off the coast, off the Atlantic Ocean to our left behind turns 3 and 4, straight up the back straightaway. So from turn 3 down the back stretch into turn number 2, that's the direction of the wind. Rusty, is that going to come into play in the draft out there with this type of wind?
I really don't think so, Alex. I think maybe they'll get a good run down the front straightaway because they'll have a little bit of a tailwind in the front straightaway. But once they get to the back straightaway and start heading up into turn 3, I don't really think they're going to feel much because the draft out there with the rest of the cars is so strong. I don't think they're going to feel that light wind that's blowing down this front straightaway here at Daytona International Speedway right now.
18 cars, 75 laps, caution flag at lap number 25, and then we should be able to go the rest of the distance, obviously barring a caution flag. What have we learned so far? We got here yesterday. We saw the Clash cars on the racetrack. We've been through Daytona 500 qualifying, albeit a different car. But what have we learned here in a short period of time, Alex?
That the cars are going to be fast in the draft. We saw a handful of cars over 203 miles per hour yesterday in practice in the draft. So you have to stay in the draft. You have to learn how your car is going to maneuver. It's got to basically work its way from the bottom, the middle, to the top of the racetrack and exercise some patience because, Rusty, you can't lose the draft here.
No, you can't lose it at all because if you lose it, you will lose it. The field will just drive away from you. That's the reason you got to stay tucked up tight. Don't stay in the back trying to save your car and all that stuff. Number one, hey, this is the Clash. This pays a lot of money, no points. And this is also going to be a big test for all of these new crew chiefs paired up with these new drivers. It should be really cool.
Now let's go trackside for the command.
And now for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal, the Busch Guy.
Daytona! Are you ready? Drivers, start your engines!
That is what you've been waiting for. 18 engines coming to life down on pit road. NASCAR 2020 is on deck. The 42nd annual Busch Clash at Daytona. You'll hear it next live on the Motor Racing Network.
Finish Line, the preeminent free-to-play NASCAR game, is now live and free to download on the Apple App Store or Google Play. Completely free to play. Finish Line asks 7 simple questions to help you make your picks for each week's race. Make 7 correct picks and win or share our $50,000 weekly jackpot. Don't get a perfect score? No worries. We are giving out $1,500 in guaranteed prizes to top finishers each week. Download the Finish Line app today on the Apple App Store or Google Play.
For more than 80 years, Detroit Diesel has been the legendary driving force powering Freightliner and Western Star trucks across North America. Through our state-of-the-art Detroit technologies and components and safety systems, we've earned our customers' trust as a reliable business partner dedicated to improving their bottom line. It's no wonder they continue to depend on Detroit to keep them safe and efficient on the road. When you demand it all, demand Detroit. There are 7 former Clash winners in the field here today. They include a 3-time winner in Denny Hamlin, also with 3 wins, Kevin Harvick. 2-time winner in the Clash, Jimmy Johnson. Others that have scored victories in the Clash include Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, and Kurt Busch. Back with more in a moment, including a swing around the racetrack. We'll do that next from Daytona International Speedway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Homeowners are no longer just painting their homes, they're spray netting them. Join one of today's fastest growing home improvement franchises that's changing the way homeowners renovate. With their patented weather adjustable paint solution, Spray Net delivers a factory finish to brick, stucco, siding, doors, and even windows that won't peel and looks like new, creating an affordable alternative to replacement. Recognized by the International Franchise Association, Spray Net allows you to follow your dreams and finally start a business for as little as $99,000. With 80% of homes in America reaching more than 20 years old, this booming $450 billion home improvement industry needs hungry franchisees to help meet the demand. No experience necessary. Low startup costs and financing options make it possible to be up and running in as little as 60 days. Call 1-877-45-SPRAY or visit SprayNetFranchise.com to be part of our February-March training. Again, call 1-877-45-SPRAY or visit SprayNetFranchise.com to finally get on the path to business ownership. This is not an offer to sell a franchise. Franchise may not be available in all states.
Hey, it's Ryan Newman.
Ryan Newman pulls it off. We did it, Ray!
Catch SiriusXM NASCAR Radio live or pull up your favorite shows anytime on demand with the SiriusXM app.
Welcome back to Daytona. As we get ready to kick off the 2020 NASCAR season, we will do it with the Busch Clash, the 42nd annual Busch Clash. Again, 18 drivers, 75 laps in all. Bragging rights and a trophy for the most part for the winner. Yep, like Rusty said, there's a big paycheck there as well, but I think everybody looking for that opportunity to not only just race and learn here at Daytona, but to take home the hardware if they can be out front on lap number 75. Those 18 cars have headed off pit road and out onto the high banks here at Daytona. Why don't we take a sweep around this racetrack right now, bring in 3 more voices that will help us call the action for you for the first time in 2020. We're going to start over in turn number 2. There, as always, from Barry, Vermont, it's Dave Moody.
Thank you, Jeff Striegel. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon once again from high atop turn 2 here at the World Center of Racing. Let's give you the tail of the tape. 31 degrees of banking here in turns 1 and 2, approximately as high as a 4-story building. As they surge off turn 2, that banking falls away very quickly to just 5 degrees on the Daytona Super Stretch. This is the west end of the racetrack, or the inland end. We'll cover it all from high atop the Sunoco Tower here in turn number 2. Now let's go a few hundred yards toward the beach, and Mike Bagley of Milford, Delaware.
Thank you, Dave. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm positioned at the end of the Daytona Super Stretch. 3,000 feet worth of real estate between the exit of turn 2 and the entrance of turn number 3. The challenge here is the draft and the aggression that comes with that draft. We see a lot of bump drafting over here on the back straightaway. Sometimes it works out well, sometimes it's not. The goal is to get in the fast line that's going to propel you to the front. It's all about keeping your nose clean, minding your P's and Q's, getting in that right drafting lane, and with that, you may have a shot to win here at the World Center of Racing. When they race off the end of the backstretch, it's up into the banking of turns 3 and 4 and into the view of Killingly, Connecticut's Kyle Rickey.
All right, thank you very much, Mike, and good afternoon, everybody. From the Sunoco Tower, just to the outside of turn number 4, this end of the speedway, also banked at 31 degrees and plenty wide to race 2 and 3 wide with the these all afternoon. Mike mentioned the drafts that will form up on the back straightaway. It will be the draft that is the most organized and has the most momentum that will go toward the front of the field, and that lane could change and often does with each and every lap. Should make for some exciting competition all afternoon. 2 and 3 wide racing through turns 3 and 4. We'll have it all covered for you at this end of the speedway here this afternoon.
Thanks so much, Kyle. 75 laps, 187.5 miles. There is a scheduled caution at lap 25, so that means there is an opportunity for crew chiefs to pull some strategy. Get some final thoughts before the drop of the green flag, and this report from pit road is presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. We start with Winston Kelly.
Well, Alex, there are a lot of different opportunities, but one of the things that we'll also be watching is with that coming out on lap 25, I don't think anybody can make it to the end of that distance. If they do, we're going to be here till about Wednesday tearing that car down. We're hearing somewhere around 40 laps on Sunoco fuel mileage. That's that caution flag coming out at lap 25. Even with caution flags, we're hearing it's probably about 10 to 12 laps short for folks. So you're going to need a lot of caution flags to be able to do that. And Steve Post, when he come down pit road, we've seen all different kind of strategies. What are you hearing?
Well, I'm hearing all different kind of strategies we're going to see. Teams have plenty of Goodyear Racing Eagles. They have 4 sets of tires on the ground here. There's no way that we'll use all of those tires, but do they want to do a 4-tire stop? This is the chance to knock the rust off. What will the car do when you put 4 new Goodyear Racing Eagles on it? We'll have to see. I think it'll be all over the map as far as strategy goes here on the pit stops. Down in turn number 4 on the pit road, it's Dylan Welch.
And Steve, great opportunity here for these pit crews and drivers alike to get their pit stop practice, their first one of the year done here before we get to the Great American Race next Sunday. For a lot of these guys, for all these guys, this is the first time they're going to have high pressure, high intensity live pit stops here. The first time this year, that is. So great opportunity here to knock the rust off, make sure you get all those lug nuts on, get the car full of fuel. You don't want to have any mistakes next Sunday. You don't want to have any mistakes either today, obviously, but if they happen today, it's a lot better than them happening next week. So we'll keep an eye on that and who can try and maybe pull some strategy out of this one and get into victory lane at the end of 75 laps.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
In case you missed it, we had Daytona 500 qualifying live on the Motor Racing Network. That was about an hour and a half or so ago, and it was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in a Chevrolet, brand new team that went 194.5 and captured the pole. All right, the reason I bring that up is there's 43 teams that took a qualifying attempt, Alex Hayden. 43 teams trying to make the Daytona 500. We've only got 18 cars in the Busch Clash, meaning there's got to be a way to get in, and you can explain.
I can. There are pole winners from the 2019 season were eligible to race this race. And then former Busch Clash winners that raced full-time last year were also eligible for today's race. Daytona 500 winners and Daytona 500 pole winners that raced full-time last year had an eligibility to get into today's race. And any of the 2019 16 playoff drivers that did not already meet the requirements or criteria to race in today's Busch Clash, that also gave them the eligibility to run. There were 20 drivers eligible, 18 in today's race. 2 of them are not racing, and that is by choice. Daniel Suarez, after winning a pole last year, did not have a car ready to go with the Gaunt brothers. He is foregoing today's race. And also a pole winner from a year ago, Daniel Hemrick. He's running in the NASCAR Xfinity Series this year for Junior Motorsports. No car available, so 18 of the eligible 20 ready to go racing.
And the very best of the best, Rusty Wallace, and it's been that way from the beginning. If you were top in your sport in that year, like you were so many times, you had that opportunity to run this race. As a driver, what were you trying to accomplish? I know you wanted to win, Rusty, you always did, but was there more to learn in a Busch Clash?
To me, there was a ton to learn in the Busch Clash because it was all about getting the right setup for the 150. So you got a fast car in the 150s to get you lined up good for the Daytona 500. Just all that knowledge, all that extra practice. And tell you what, guys, if you're not in this race, you are leaving something laying on the table. There is no doubt about that. People that can't run the Busch Clash today, the rest of the drivers down there in the infield are going, man, I feel terrible. I want to be in that race so bad because it's so important to win in the 500, in my opinion.
Well, we're going to find out who is going to hoist the first trophy of the 2020 NASCAR Cup Series season. Got to say a big thanks to all of our Premier Series partners this year. Busch, Coca-Cola, Geico, Xfinity, all have stepped up sponsoring NASCAR. The momentum is there. We're set for our first green flag of competition here in the 2020 season in the NASCAR Cup Series, and call the start of the 2020 Busch Clash for the Motor Racing Network from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Jeff Striegel.
Time to lock and load. The winter wait is over. Waiting for the pace car to peel off the banking. It will do so now as they make their way through the tri-oval, looking for the green flag at Daytona, and it is in the air. On the break on the inside from South Bend, Indiana, that is Ryan Newman. To his outside from Michigan, that's Brad Keselowski. Side by side, 2 by 2, they head back to turn number 1.
Keselowski by about a half a car length as they hit the banking, but the inside lane will surge ahead in turns 1 and 2. Newman now to the lead. Martin Truex Jr. on his back bumper. He'll pull to the inside of Keselowski.
Newman has cleared the field by about 2 car lengths, but that field will quickly catch him as the first driver to make a move is Martin Truex Jr. He'll rumble out of the pocket. Charge to driver's right. Side by side for the lead in 3.
Had a lot of momentum at the end of the back straightaway for Martin Truex Jr., but that quickly died, and it's the inside lane that advances, led by Ryan Newman, with drafting help on the bottom from Eric Almirola.
Newman will drive to left side of the racetrack. He'll put the block on the bottom side. Lap number 1 goes to Ryan Newman. His Ford teammate is on his back bumper. That's Eric Almirola. They are single file. They're 2 by 2 behind him.
It's Chevrolet versus Toyota in that battle for third. William Byron to the inside of the racetrack in the Chevy. Top side, Martin Truex Jr. in the Toyota. Tires still coming up to pressure. Sparks fly as they exit 2.
4 drivers down low. You've got the rest of the field and the outside line. That outside line led by Martin Truex Jr. But still the inside line prevails with Newman and 3 others.
The side-by-side racing begins from third on back. William Byron to the inside of Martin Truex Jr. Then it's Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski top side.
And talking about those sparks of flying, Kyle Larson went from about mid-pack all the way back, almost to the back of the pack right now. Could not get that car up to speed. Sparks have been flying out of the right rear corner. It's like, just like Dave Moody just said, the tire pressures are coming up. That car's getting up to speed. But, guys, he fell all the way back a lot faster than I thought he would.
Well, he started in position number 4. He crossed the line running 16th. Mike Bagley, 5 cars on the inside, everybody else working the outside.
And that outside line is starting to get some steam. Here comes Truex up that outside line. He'll get a huge shove from Brad Keselowski. Truex to the lead here in Daytona.
Those 2 cars starting to break away just a bit from now. The side-by-side race for third. Ryan Newman to the inside of Clint Boyer. Now it's the inside lane that has the momentum built off turn 4.
Getting it wound up, Newman will go to the middle of the racetrack. His car will dance back down to driver's left. Newman on the inside lane, this time across the stripe, will be scored third. That's because Martin Truex Jr. and Brad Keselowski have the horses on the outside.
Outside lane has the numbers, and that'll give them the giddy up at least for the moment. Truex topside with the lead by about a car length over Keselowski. He still begins to feel some heat now. Back to the inside comes Ryan Newman.
The outside line is where it's at. It's led by the SiriusXM Toyota of Martin Truex Jr. Keselowski's there with Boyer. You've got Harvick and Logano in a side-by-side battle for 5th.
And it was a lap ago. Ryan Newman was challenging for position number 3 on the inside of the racetrack. Now he's fighting to just stay in the top 5. He and Eric Almirola, the only 2 cars on the bottom.
Goodbye, Newman, and goodbye, Eric Almirola, the only 2 cars on the inside of the racetrack. Everybody else all the way up against the outside barrier, and they are freight training those 2. Truex, Keselowski, Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, top 5.
Ryan Newman, Eric Almirola in absolute free fall right now. Kyle Busch to the outside of Newman. That's the battle for the number 10 spot. They're all chasing Martin Truex Jr.
The entire field is in the outside line now except for 1 car, and that's Eric Almirola. Newman was able to find a place in line. Almirola's going to go all the way to the back of the pack.
Everybody else in that top line through turns 3 and 4, snuggled up against the outside safer wall. Not a foot between the cars and the safer barrier, led by Martin Truex Jr.
Off turn 4, coming back to the start-finish line. Lap number 5 goes on the board. Don't forget, there is a scheduled caution at lap 25. That's not a competition caution, so teams are free to come to pit road and service the race cars beforehand. The entire field goes back to turn 1.
And for the moment, everybody content just to ride that outside lane, snuggled up against the safer barrier. Truex the leader, then Keselowski and Clint Boyer.
Here they come to the back straightaway. The entire field is in a single file formation, and it is against the outside wall. We've seen drivers take advantage of the low lane on occasion. Not this time. Up and in to the outside wall, or against it, that is the pack.
Led by Truex and then Brad Keselowski, Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano. That's the top 5.
All right, Rusty Wallace, this didn't take very long. Now working lap number 6. We start double file, obviously, as you know, 18 cars, 9 rows deep. It didn't take very long to get them single file. Right now, top 5, Truex, Keselowski, Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano. You've been in this situation before. You can get out there and mix it up, or you can log laps. What are we learning right now, and what's the philosophy behind the wheel?
Well, what the mindset is right now, they know they got to stop at lap 25. We got a mandatory or caution flag coming out at lap 25. They know that's the farthest they're going to go, so just settle in. Don't tear these old cars up right now. Let's just get to lap 25. And right now they're probably talking to their crew guys about what the car needs, a little tune-up on a setup, stuff like that, and a little conversation going on at the moment. But nobody's in a big hurry. There might be some guys late, try to get up there and finish the best they can. But you got to remember, no points for this race, and lap 25 is the first time they're going to stop now.
Well, now we have some of the back of the field starting to go to the bottom, all single file. But, Dave, there's a driver that's trying, at least at the front, to make something happen.
Yeah, that's Denny Hamlin trying to get some people interested in the low line. So far, the takers are way far back.
And those takers happen to be all Chevrolets. You got William Byron, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson, Jimmy Johnson, and Kurt Busch, the Chevy Brigade that tried the low lane.
And now they go right back to the top of the racetrack in turn number 3, and now Denny Hamlin finds himself as the only driver on the bottom and going backwards.
All right, let's talk about that for a minute. You heard Kyle Larson. I believe he was talking to our Dylan Welch about the fact that Kyle said, I need to hook up. I was told to hook up with my manufacturing teammates, meaning all the Chevrolets. It took them an opportunity to move up, down, around, and 7 laps, now 8 laps, Alex Hayden, and all of the Chevrolets are now running together on the racetrack.
They are, and we'll see how this strategy plays out. This is a type of strategy, Rusty, that manufacturers have tried to get all of their employees, if you will, to adhere to, both here at Daytona last year and at Talladega. While it's a great strategy on paper, sometimes it just doesn't necessarily play out.
Yeah, I hate playing that strategy. You definitely want to rely on your teammates, that's for sure, but just to hunt around for a different manufacturer to try to get the job done, that's really tough. I mean, I'm going to go back one thing. Look at Denny Hamlin right now. He's back there in like the 15th position. 2 laps ago, he was up front, almost leading this race. He pulled out by himself, completely lost that draft, got stuck right to the tailback. I'm telling you what, if you sit there and do stuff like that and start hunting around for a manufacturer to help you, and that's the reason this has happened to you, I wouldn't be doing that.
Well, right now, all the Chevrolets are running together. They were on the bottom of the racetracks. Look like they are working the super stretch again on the bottom. The highest running Chevrolet at the moment is 10th, and that's William Byron. But again, when he looks in the rearview mirror, he sees nothing but Chevrolet teammates and a long way to go in which to bring those Chevrolets to the front. We'll take a break and come back with more. 10 laps are now complete. As they come across the line, it is Brad Keselowski now leading over Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, and Eric Jones. That is your top 5.
Here's the thing. Saving money with Geico is almost better than playing pickup basketball. Because there's always that guy who joins your game. He never passes the rock, he constantly bricks threes, and he'll completely hack you and then put his hands up and say, no foul, no foul. With Geico, it's easy to switch and save on car insurance. No need to fake an ankle sprain because you're absolutely exhausted. So switch and save with Geico. It's almost better than sports.
The Chevy Blazer RS is beautifully designed, but don't take our word. Here's what real people are saying.
That's a Blazer? It's a Chevy Blazer?
Oh, this is dope.
It's beautiful.
I love the lights.
Look at the interior. This is nice.
This is my sexy mom car.
I would feel like a cool dad.
It flows. It's got a nice body.
I don't know who they got to design this, but give them a cookie and a star.
Discover the Chevy Blazer. Its design speaks for itself. Chevrolet. Find new roads.
Brad Keselowski leading here on lap number 11. It will soon be lap 12 as the field working up in turn number 3. So what happened to Martin Truex Jr.? He pulled out of line, fell back in line in 10th. Why?
Well, it looked that he may have had a little bit of debris covering the grill, which restricts the airflow to the radiator, which causes the engine to begin to overheat somewhat. So I'm not sure exactly what was going on. Winston Kelly, you're down there in the pit area. Did he have some sort of a problem?
Yeah, he had a little bit of debris on the front of the grill. He was able to drop back, get it off, so no problems now. Temperature was starting to creep up just a little bit, so rather safe than sorry. That's why he lost a little bit of ground, but no concerns right now for Martin Truex Jr. and his team.
Looked like he tucked in right behind either Ryan Blaney or Denny Hamlin, got right up behind him, and that blew the debris off the grill. All good now for Truex. All the while, Brad Keselowski leading here on lap number 13 from Daytona International Speedway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Green flag in the air, we're underway.
I am your NASCAR Fantasy Life team, for this week at least. I am the 6 drivers you've handpicked.
Keselowski,
Truex Jr.,
Kurt Busch.
6 drivers you believe will propel you to NASCAR fantasy glory. I am what makes the thrill of watching a race all that much more exciting. And I am found at NASCAR.com/fantasy. Pick your drivers today. I am NASCAR. I am first, the place where it all started. I am dreams coming true and nightmares too. The place where the season begins. I am 101,000 hearts skipping a beat. I am wide open, faster than fast, predictably unpredictable. I am what you've been waiting for, and I am about to go off. I am the Daytona 500, and I am Sunday starting at 2:30 Eastern, only on Fox. I am NASCAR.
24/7, 365-day coverage of all things NASCAR is found right here. This is Kevin Harvick on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
10 away from a caution flag. If we don't get one before that, we're going to see the caution flag come out on lap 25. We are going to be working lap 15 here very shortly. Here comes the field now working back off of turn number 4. A quick look at the top 10. Brad, Boyer, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Eric Jones, top 5. Then it's Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Newman, Ryan Blaney, and Truex. First Chevrolet right now is 11th. And Mike Bagley, when they all got hooked together, they started running the bottom of the racetrack. And I'm talking about all the Chevrolets. We know they're fast, but yet even though they got all hooked up on the bottom, they have not made any progress at all.
No, they haven't, Jeff. Matter of fact, they trail the lead draft by about 4, maybe 5 car lengths. You got the main draft that's on the outside, and William Byron is leading a string of 8 Chevrolets down low, but they cannot catch that lead pack.
Alex Bowman part of that traffic, as is Chase Elliott, Austin Dillon, also Kyle Larson, Jimmy Johnson, and Kurt Busch as they make their way off the corner, still a ways back from that lead group.
But 2 distinct tracks around the Daytona International Speedway. The lead draft, if you will, is running the outside lane, Rusty. That Chevy draft with that one Ford with Eric Almirola back there, they're running the inside lane.
Yeah, there's no particular reason he's doing that. I mean, I think maybe if there was some more experience that he had, William Byron I'm talking about, he'd probably get up in that top lane, run that draft down, get a high speed of rate going at the lead pack, and then dart to the bottom and start passing them. But just to stay on the bottom all the way around the racetrack and the rest of the field up on the top of the racetrack, at least that's something I wouldn't be doing.
Well, very interesting. You got to wonder how long they will continue to pound away at the inside line. It really has not worked at all. In fact, if anything, they are losing touch, albeit a slight amount. There's probably 8-10 car lengths between the guys running on the top of the racetrack and those Chevrolets running at the bottom. Right now, 17 laps complete. Alex Hayden with Brad Keselowski leading over Clint Boyer.
Now, in the pre-race, we heard Winston Kelly, Steve Post, and Dylan Welch interviewing all these drivers, and the majority of them said this is a golden opportunity to learn things. But Dylan Welch, even if you're not in this race, you still have an opportunity to learn.
Yeah, it's interesting. Was scanning radios pre-race and stumbled upon the channel of Christopher Bell and was a little confused because he's not in this race, but there was radio chatter, and it was from his spotter, Stevie Reeves, who is up top spotting this race. We think spotting definitely really for one of the Joe Gibbs cars. I think it's the Kyle Busch car. He is basically simulating this race, and his driver, Christopher Bell, is up top with him, and they're practicing their communication for next Sunday. So this is Christopher's first Daytona 500, the first time he's worked with Stevie Reeves as his spotter. So they're up top right now basically simulating how the race is going to go for them next week. So interesting stuff and a great opportunity, as you said, just to learn, even if you're not on the racetrack. So interesting stuff. And I know, Winston Kelly, you were scanning that as well. Pretty cool situation, though, when we just kind of stumbled upon that and we're listening to those two chat.
Yeah, a lot of times on the scanner, they'll be on a different channel, and you kind of have to move around to get the right one. And I was trying to figure out who was it, and they were talking about the 12 car, which, of course, is Ryan Blaney, was behind Kyle Busch. And it's like, this doesn't sound anything like Kyle Busch. And then I heard Stevie telling, this is what I'm going to tell you if they get in line. This is when I'm not going to talk, and even heard him talk about, here's the type of things we might want to try in the Busch, in the duels come Thursday afternoon. And Stevie saying, here's when I'm going to tell you something, if he's going to try a slide job to slide up in front of him or not. So they're doing more than simulating, but just picking out cars and saying, here's what I'm going to tell you. What are you looking for me? So I thought that was both fascinating and very cerebral for those guys to take this opportunity to learn as much as they can, even they're not on the racetrack.
All right, Winston, thank you very much. Lap 20 now will go on the board. 5 away from the caution flag. Dave, I'm noticing something. I know you are as well. The inside lane beginning to fill up with more drivers. Some of the Fords pulled down. Some of the Toyotas have pulled down. Now I see they've jumped back topside.
Yeah, Ryan Newman had dropped down kind of at the front of that low line charge. He is back now upstairs. And the man jumping to the bottom, the only guy that's made any life up there today, Mike Bagley, Denny Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin once again is at the bottom of the racetrack. He's trying to get everybody rolling. Now Newman he'll break out of line. They're going to run on Kyle Busch, bring Blaney and Truex along with him.
Now Kyle Busch hung out to dry all by himself to the outside of the little racetrack. Blaney will go to the bottom, as will Martin Truex Jr. And now Denny Hamlin will lose that lead grab.
Guys, I'm just wondering, we got 5 laps to go before the caution flag comes on. I wonder if everybody will come down and pit. If they do that, and you add 40, so they'll run 25 laps. Let's say that gives them enough fuel to run 40 more, which puts them a lap 65. Does that put them in a position then just to zip down pit road, do a splash and go with fuel and keep on going? I got to believe that would work. It's going to be interesting to see if everybody pits for fuel, at least fuel, at lap 25.
So 4, or make it 3.5 laps now before that scheduled caution. Steve Post, what are you hearing? Is there going to be a strategy call?
Well, I think there's options that they have, and right now nobody's tipping their hand. Actually, all the conversation on the radio is just keeping everybody in line. So do you come in and pit now? Do you come in and take tires now? I like Rusty's idea, splash and go. You're going to have to pit during that second stage, or do you just split the race in half and go to about lap 37 or 38? I think there's still a lot to be determined here, and I think we're just going to need to stay tuned. Everyone's keeping the cards pretty close to the vest down here.
I got to wonder now if the inside line is preparing to pit maybe before lap 25. It looked like, I mean, that's what it looks like, doesn't it? When you watch them, Alex, come off of turn number 4, it looks like they're lining up down by the double yellow line, getting ready to come to pit road. They are making no progress. They continue to pound away. Kyle Rickey at the inside line, but they are only going backwards.
Yeah, they were making progress about 5 laps ago, and that's when Martin Truex Jr. pulled down to the bottom along with Ryan Blaney. And suddenly they lost all of their momentum and continue to lose ground in that lead draft.
Back to the start-finish line they come. Lap 23 on the board. 2 to go before the scheduled caution. Everybody still mixing it up quite a bit as Ryan Newman's the only one at the front of the field working the bottom.
Took a dive to the bottom of the racetrack, picked up a couple of spots initially, but now has thrown out the anchor and is falling very quickly toward the back of that lead draft.
So up front, that lead draft is led by the Money Lion Ford Mustang of Brad Keselowski. Kevin Harvick is second. Make that Clint Boyer second. Harvick third. Logano and Blaney are now the top 5.
That's the top 5, all huddled up against the outside safer wall. Then it's Eric Jones, Kyle Busch, and then a side-by-side race just into the top 10 between Denny and Hamlin to the bottom of Martin Truex Jr.
So right now we have 1 to go until we see the caution flag fly. That'll happen next time by at the front of the field. It is Brad, Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, Logano, Ryan Blaney, top 5, quickly through the top 10. Eric Jones, Kyle Busch, then Denny. Denny Truex and Ryan Newman.
That second group remained on track, so they will go all the way to the caution flag at the front of the heap. It's still Brad Keselowski's going away over Clint Boyer.
Who changes lanes and brings the entire field to the bottom, this time through 1 and 2 and onto the back straightaway. Keselowski continues to lead at the tail end of the lead draft. You've got Kyle Busch and Truex taking a look out of line. They get back in line in 3.
And all of the race leaders now go to the bottom of the racetrack here in the final lap of this opening segment, led by Brad Keselowski over Clint Boyer and Kevin Harvick, and now they're slowing. Looks like they may hit the pit lane.
The front of the field, the entire front draft is slowing down, coming to pit road. That puts Ryan Newman the first to the start-finish line. Meanwhile, strategy being played out. Here comes Clint Boyer. He's the first to hit his mark. Clint Boyer is in. You've got also Ryan Blaney and more cars in front of Winston Kelly.
And here's one of those, Brad Keselowski further down pit road. We see Mark Truex Jr. Looks like Kyle Busch is on pit road a little bit further down. Eric Jones, Brad Keselowski, 2 right side tires. He's going to be followed by Denny Hamlin. This is going to be 4 for Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. to Steve Post.
Looks like 4 tires for everybody down here, Winston, and I had 5 of my 6 drivers, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, Eric Almirola, Ryan Blaney, and Clint Boyer all getting pit service lap number 25. Dylan Welch.
Yeah, I had all the Chevys at my end of pit road, and they all stayed out. So those guys will be coming down here behind Ryan Newman once we get the field cycled back up towards one another and then make pit stops here at this lap 25 yellow.
Well, we are hearing that the Chevys are expected to do something a little different here at the break. Now, exactly what that means, well, they didn't tell us, but we'll follow up here. Everybody electing to come to pit road, like Alex said, they're on lap number 24. By the way, Joey Logano beating Denny Hamlin back to the line, coming off of pit road. Lap 25, then lap 26 goes into books, and now the caution flag is out. It's the Money Lion caution, presented by Money Lion, the world's most powerful financial membership. Money Lion, here we roar.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Blue Emu. No chill, no burn, no odor. Blue Emu works fast, and you won't stink.
Hey guys, it's the NASCAR Cup Series driver Corey LaJoy. Discover a better way to vacation with Blue Green Vacations, the official vacation ownership provider of NASCAR. Create the kind of lasting vacation experience you want every time, and share a lifetime of memorable vacations with the ones you love most at over 69 beautiful and unique resorts in more than 40 existing destinations across the U.S. Learn more at bluegreenvacations.com. That's bluegreenvacations.com.
When you're on the go, missing the side-by-side action at the racetrack isn't a problem.
Here comes Logano on the high side. He drives it deep into turn number 2.
Motor Racing Network brings the NASCAR race to you, wherever you are, so you don't miss one lap of the excitement.
Denny Hamlin has won the 61st edition of the Daytona 500.
You are the man, D8. The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
Pit road is still closed, so we're not going to see Newman or the Chevrolets, at least this time by. Remember, they all stayed on the racetrack when everybody else came to pit road. So Newman now is at the front of the field with William Byron, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, and Austin Dillon. That is your top 5, but that will soon change. From Daytona International Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Talking about erectile dysfunction isn't easy. Usually we just brush it off or blame ourselves, saying things like, I lost my mojo. Or we avoid it altogether with excuses like, I had a long day at work. Or, sorry, honey, I'm just not feeling it. But with Roman, it is easy to talk about. With a real doctor who can prescribe real medication. It's simple, safe, and totally discreet. With Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for ED, all from the comfort and privacy of your home. The doctor will work with you to find the best treatment plan, and if medication is appropriate, Roman will ship it to you with free 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward and discreet. Getting started is simple. Just go to GetRoman.com/visit and complete an online visit. Erectile dysfunction used to be tough to tackle, but now there's Roman. Complete an online visit today to connect with a doctor and take care of it. That's GetRoman.com/visit to get a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. GetRoman.com/visit.
This is Chris Buescher on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 9. To catch SiriusXM NASCAR Radio live or pull up your favorite shows anytime on demand with the SiriusXM app.
The 42nd annual Busch Clash is now well underway. 27 will soon be 28 laps complete. Pit road will be open this time by for those that want it. Many have already come to pit road, including Eric Jones and Clint Boyer, Denny Hamlin. Joey Logano's been on pit road, but a number of drivers have not. Hey, glad to have you with us. Motor Racing Network live throughout Speed Weeks 2020 alongside Alex Hayden and Rusty Wallace. My name is Jeff Striegel. We've got 3 turn announcers for you all week long, including Dave Moody, Mike Bagley, and Kyle Rickey. Working pit road for us, as always, Winston Kelly, Steve Post, and Dylan Welch.
Field comes through turns 3 and 4. The lights at the head of pit road are green. Pit lane will be open this time by. Before they get to pit road, though, got to let you know we got a special broadcast tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern. MRN presents MRN's 50 years. Check that out. It's going to be a fantastic event on MRN. Also Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, NASCAR Live, as always, will be on. And then Wednesday evening, a special edition of NASCAR Live, the best of the Daytona 500, 7 o'clock Eastern.
So if you didn't pit, now's the opportunity to come to pit road. And Dylan Welch, you got a bunch of Chevrolets there in front of you.
They are all in. 4 tires and fuel for the Hendrick Chevys. William Byron, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson, all in at the head of pit road. 4 tires and fuel for all of them as Bowman and Byron race out. Winston?
And I've got Ryan Newman, the pole sitter, in pit stall number 4. It's the first one that was picked. It's going to be a 4-tire stop for this Coke Ford Mustang. He's going to pull away, go out second behind one of the car. Looked like Joey Logano out first. You got one in front of you, Steve Post?
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson, the Ally Chevrolet, was in 4 tires, Sunoco Racing Fuel for Jimmy Johnson. Looked like real routine pit work there, and back up onto the speedway for Johnson.
So pit stops for everybody have come and gone, whether it was right before the caution came out on lap number 24 or perhaps here on lap number 28. Ryan Newman was being scored the leader before this exchange goes around. So let's reset and talk about where we're at right now in this Busch Clash. 2 distinct different drafts. A lot of it was manufacturer-oriented, but here we are now, pit stop out of the way. We heard Winston, Steve, and Dylan say in the pre-race sweep that there's no real chance that they can go the advertised distance on Sunoco fuel, so perhaps they're going to have to come back in. Strategy's going to come into play again.
Well, and I know that you're just sitting here, Rusty Wallace, scratching your head trying to figure out what each one of these, I'm not even going to say team, I'm going to say manufacturer is trying to accomplish. We saw the Chevrolets doing their own thing. We saw Fords and Toyotas not afraid to work with one another. What do you think so far?
Well, I just saw something that's got me thinking about changing my mind. I just saw Joey Logano come down, top off again real fast. Leads me to believe he's going to try to make it to the end of this race. Now, we're at lap 28. They're getting ready to cross this line. It's going to be lap 29. They'll probably take the restart on lap 30 or 31. At that point, that's only going to leave them like 44 laps to go. They might have enough fuel to make it with that particular distance in mind.
With that being said, here come some more cars off the racetrack, headed to pit road. Some of those Chevrolets that Dylan described are back in front of Dylan Welch.
And they're all just topping off. Alex Bowman made a quick fuel adjustment. Kyle Larson overshot his pit stall and had to back up, but it's fuel only for all of these cars that came down a second time. Winston?
Yeah, looking to see who else came down pit road. Didn't have anybody topping off on this in a pit road, double checking who got 2, who got 4. So far we've got 4 for everybody except for Brad Keselowski, who got 2 right side tires. Anybody in front of you, Postman?
Topping it off, Eric Almirola and Jimmy Johnson here on lap number 29.
All right, let's look into the crystal ball here. I think they just did what you were talking about. They, meaning the Chevrolets and the 1 Ford of Eric Almirola. You got to believe that they just simply hooked up together, allowed that first 25 laps to play out, then came onto pit road a second time, topping it off with fuel, and now we'll try to go the distance, I assume, Rusty, with them thinking that nobody else can do that. Yes,
well,
no? What do you think?
Yeah, well, maybe. That's a good thought. I mean, and when the 22 car, Joey Logano, hit pit road first and topped off, just a real quick splash that led me to believe, wait a minute, those guys think they can run maybe 44 or 45 laps and make it barely on fumes to the end of this race. And I think that the rest of the field saw Logano do that and said, wait a minute, let's try that one. There's no harm, no foul right there. So I believe that was a good strategy call. If we get another caution out here, nobody has to pit. They can use that caution to get the fuel mileage increase, and that would give them enough fuel to make it to the end then.
The field 2x2 behind the pace car in turn 4. That means the field is indeed coming to the Geico restart zone. Whether you rent or own, Geico makes it easy to bundle home and auto insurance. Having a home is hard work, so get a quote at geico.com. Easy.
Always fun to be playing a crew chief, even though we have never done it before. But we will do it all afternoon long. We'll find out who's right, who's wrong. Green flag goes back in the air here on lap number 30. Brad Keselowski, Clint Boyer, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Eric Jones, and everybody else racing back to turn number 1.
Keselowski gets the advantage in at turn number 1, outside line with the brake. He's going to drop down across the nose of the Denny Hamlin machine. Hamlin now to the inside of Clint Boyer. That's the battle for the number 2 spot.
Keselowski reclaims the lead by pulling to the bottom. Now he'll shift to the outside line, get in front of Clint Boyer. It's Keselowski in front all by himself, but Eric Jones just gives Denny Hamlin a huge shove to the lead in 3.
A couple of Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas hooking up on the bottom, propelling Denny Hamlin to the front of the field. Eric Jones is in second, then it's Kyle Busch, third car in line on the bottom.
Reigning Daytona 500 champion Denny Hamlin back at the front of the field at the World Center of Racing. Back to the stripe. Hamlin by inches, and Brad Keselowski now gets a big push. Keselowski gets the shot he needs on the back bumper to go to the lead.
It's the Joe Gibbs Toyotas on the bottom of the racetrack. The Ford Power on the outside. Keselowski getting the heave-ho from Clint Boyer. Great drafting help will shove them both to first and second.
Both Keselowski and Boyer in the outside of the racetrack, and they've been able to break away, but here comes Denny Hamlin yet again. He'll get a side draft off Boyer. Hamlin going it alone will power to the inside of Boyer.
All by himself on the bottom. Now Keselowski, as the race leader, moves across the racetrack to the inside, but only for a moment. Now back topside for Keselowski in front of Boyer.
Two of the very best at the front of the field. Those two, Brad Keselowski and Denny Hamlin, they're absolutely two of the best on the big tracks. Brad up and down the racetrack, throwing the block first on Denny, then all the way back up to the top side, throwing the block on Clint Boyer.
Boyer now has got a trunk full of Kevin Harvick as he tries to surge back to the outside for second. Boyer by a nose is second, Hamlin down low third, then Harvick up top.
You've got quite a couple of speedway racing maestros at the front of the field. Keselowski and Denny Hamlin, masters at their craft. They are 1 and 2 right now.
Keselowski top of the racetrack, Hamlin bottom of the racetrack, then it's Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, and Kyle Busch topside, Eric Jones and William Byron on the bottom.
Exiting turn number 4, the outside lane. That's going to have the momentum. That's going to have Brad Keselowski at the front of the field. He's got Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick stacked up. Then Kyle Busch, he too is going to go to the outside lane on the charge.
Denny Hamlin now beginning to plummet. There was only so long he could hang alone on the bottom of the racetrack. He's all the way back to the number 7 position. Front of the pack, it's Keselowski, Clint Boyer, 1 and 2, followed by Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch.
Denny Hamlin will find a place in line, 7th in line on the outside. Everybody in the outside line with the exception of 6 cars down low, led by Eric Jones with Chase Elliott and 4 others.
Alex Bowman also on the bottom, along with Kurt Busch, Austin Dillon, and Jimmy Johnson, who is the 18th car in line right now, well behind race leader Brad Keselowski.
I think Denny Hamlin just proved to himself that, hey, man, I can't run this bottom lane unless I get some help. He saw that opening coming off of turn 2. He shot up in it, got out of that bottom lane, said, hey, man, I don't want any part of that right now. I'm going to go from the front to the back like I did earlier if I keep trying this trick. So I think he learned something just then. If he's got a guy behind him on the bottom and they're in a hurry, okay, I'll try this. But if I don't have that, I got to get back to the top lane.
34 laps down, 41 to go. It is Brad Keselowski, Clint Boyer 1-2, Kevin Harvick 3, Kyle Busch right now riding 4th in front of his teammate Martin Truex Jr., then Ryan Blaney 6, 7 Denny Hamlin, 8 Joey Logano, William Byron 9, and Kyle Larson right now running 10th.
40 laps to go in the Busch Clash of 2020. We'll find out some strategy if it's going to be playing out or not. We'll see on Fuel when we come back.
Welcome back to Sports View. Today's topic, who deserves to win big this season? My 2 cents, good drivers. I mean, that's why there's Snapshot from Progressive. Let's go to Rick for some confusing metaphors.
Look, if you put a classically trained cellist in a garage band and you tell him to play filet mignon, I guarantee you, the meat on that burrito ain't gonna light the candle.
Thanks for clarifying, Rick.
If you're a good driver, there's no other way to say it. You deserve discounts with Snapshot. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California, North Carolina, or from all agents.
O'Reilly.
This is Sarah's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
Driving cross country with 2 young children is ambitious, to say the least. Then our check engine light came on. We pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts and they tested it. Turned out it was a faulty sensor. They referred us to a great mechanic just down the street and we were back on the road in no time.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
39 laps to go at Daytona in the Busch Clash here 2020. Brad Keselowski still showing the way. Everybody single file working through turns 3 and 4. So Dylan Welch, there's been speculation. Can they go the distance after that late top off?
Well, we did see them come down and top off. All the Chevrolet cars did. The crew just came onto the radio of William Byron and told him, we are in max save mode right now, so just get in the draft and ride. So don't know for sure if they can make it all the way, but their plan is to try at least. So maybe expect all the Chevrolets to just kind of get in the pack, draft, that saves fuel, and then as Winston Kelly pointed out too, even if you don't make it all the way, it's still just less time. You have to top off later in the race if you came down and topped off there earlier. So we're going to be interested to see if they get a yellow. That certainly is not going to do them any harm either.
Brad Keselowski, Clint Boyer, and Kevin Harvick. That's the top 3 in the Busch Clash from Daytona International Speedway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
I am first, the place where it all started. I am dreams coming true and nightmares too. The place where the season begins. I am 101,000 hearts skipping a beat. I am wide open, faster than fast, predictably unpredictable. I am what you've been waiting for, and I am about to go off. I am the Daytona 500, and I am Sunday starting at 2:30 Eastern, only on Fox. I am NASCAR.
The Daytona 500. Be here on February 16th to witness the biggest race of the year, where one driver will make history as a Daytona 500 champion. Be here to feel the power that takes your breath away and brings you to the edge of your seat. This year, make the trip to experience the thrill of one of the greatest events in sports and one of the most iconic events in the world. This is the Daytona 500. Start planning your trip today at Daytona500.com.
This is Alex Bowman on your 24/7 home for NASCAR, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 9. Stream it on your phone and at home on Sirius XM connected devices and speakers.
Back at the World Center of Racing, glad you can join us here on the Motor Racing Network. 36 laps to go in the Busch Clash. Brad Keselowski continues to pull the field behind him. Everybody for the moment is single file.
You know, how many of you have the Busch Clash circled on your racing calendar? It is really the official start of the racing season. It certainly is for us, as we are so proud to be here at Daytona, the Motor Racing Network, with live coverage of the Busch Clash. And it's so fun to say, do you realize it has been 23 years since it was the Busch Clash? It's been a number of things since, but it's back to the original, the Busch Clash. And joining us right now, the Senior Director, Value Brands, Anheuser-Busch, Daniel Blake. And I know that just the opportunity to say Daytona, Daytona International Speedway, the Busch Clash, what a mix.
It's unbelievable. We're so happy to be back. I got to tell you, the excitement at the track is electric. I mean, as you said, 23 years since it was the Busch Clash last, and to be able to come back to start the season is really, really tremendous.
4 brand new partners, if you will, in a, we don't have that entitlement sponsor like we've had over the years. Now we have 4 of them. One of them, very proudly, is you and Busch.
Yeah. The roots of the brand are rooted in NASCAR, and when we got the opportunity to come back as a premier sponsor, we knew we had to take it. We're investing a ton of dollars to connect with our fans here at this opportunity, and we couldn't be more excited about it.
It really is something that's been fun to watch and see how it evolves there. Also, Busch, you guys have had that great partnership with Kevin Harvick, and he's got that Busch branding on the race car here today in the Busch Clash. And what is it about Kevin Harvick that makes him such a good brand ambassador?
We couldn't ask for anyone better than Kevin. Obviously, champion, unbelievable driver, but he's also game to build our programs with us. We've put him in pink fire suits, pink cars. We put his name on the hood. Anything we're coming to him with, he's game to do, and we couldn't ask for anyone better to promote our brand and to promote the sport.
Obviously, the Busch Clash going on right now. 1 week from today, the Daytona 500, and Busch, you guys have something fun going on and that a lot of people can be a part of.
We couldn't be more excited about this one. So we're calling this one the fastest sweepstakes in the history of NASCAR. So the way it works is every time Kevin pits, we're giving away a Busch-branded Mustang. The way it works, you have to use the hashtag #PitForBusch while he's actually in pit lane. You have to match the time he's in pit lane, use that hashtag, and you have a chance to win a Busch-branded Mustang.
Are we eligible?
Yes, but you got to be quick.
We are very quick, and we kind of got a bird's eye view, so we'll take it. Hey, it's great to see you. Don't be gone for another 23 years. I know you're coming back next year.
We're here for a while. You can't get rid of us. Thanks for the time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Daniel. Daniel Blake, who is the Senior Director, Value Brands, Anheuser-Busch, as we continue running the Busch Clash here at Daytona.
And right now, there are a couple of different drafting groups forming up. 5 cars at the front in front of Mike Bagley.
That's because that draft got busted up a lap ago, Alex, when Logano tried to make a run to the inside of Hamlin to catch his teammate Blaney. All 3 of them lost on that deal, and that's allowed Kyle a 5-car breakaway.
Logano was dropped to the back. His teammate, Brad Keselowski, still at the front over Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, and Kyle Busch.
So we've got 44 laps down. We have 31 remaining. It's Brad at the front of the field right now. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Motor Racing Network.
24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
44 laps are complete in the 42nd annual Busch Clash at Daytona. Welcome back, Motor Racing Network, with live flag-to-flag coverage. Right now, a quick look at the top 5. It shows Ford's out front. Brad Keselowski driving one of them. Right behind him, Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Martin Truex Jr. Again, 45 laps are down. 30 to go here at Daytona.
For more than 80 years, Detroit Diesel has been the legendary driving force powering Freightliner and Western Star trucks across North America. Through our state-of-the-art Detroit technologies and components and safety systems, we've earned our customers' trust as a reliable business partner dedicated to improving their bottom line. It's no wonder they continue to depend on Detroit to keep them safe and efficient on the road. When you demand it all, demand Detroit.
Sir, are you aware you were going 40 miles an hour? This is a residential area.
Sure, but I'm on my lawnmower? Wait, am I getting a ticket?
No, I've just never seen anyone top 9 miles an hour on one of those bad boys. And mow their entire lawn in 30 seconds? What got into you?
Well, it did fuel up at Sunoco this morning.
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
We've got 5 cars that have peeled off the racetrack, come to pit road. 4 of them are Toyotas. Winston Kelly.
Martin Truex Jr., Sunoco fuel only. Kyle Busch, also Sunoco fuel only. A little bit of a problem. Looks like they're going to change tires. Eric Jones is going to lose a lot of time. They're going to change right side tires. It looks like an audible call down there for Chris Gale as they're going to change tires. How about in front of you, Steve Post?
The Toyota team of Denny Hamlin was in fuel only, and the Ford of Ryan Blaney pitted amongst the Toyota team as well. So 1 Ford and 4 Toyotas pitting on lap number 46.
Stay on your toes, boys, because here come 5 more race cars peeling off the racetrack. Steve Post, here comes Clint Boyer.
Boyer slides his Ford Mustang into the attention of the crew. A quick sweep of the grill on the front of the race car. Sunoco Racing fuel plugged in. About 4 pit boxes ahead of him. His teammate, Eric Almirola, fuel only. Winston Kelly.
Mustang Brigade on pit road. Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Newman, all Sunoco fuel. They return to the racetrack. Dylan, did you have anybody?
That was the exchange on pit road that time by. The rest of the cars on the racetrack, that Chevrolet draft, if you will, exits turn number 4. They're going to stay on the track. Feel Whole is an invitation, a rally cry, a movement empowering you to take your health into your own hands. It's time to step up, make a change for good, to get on track and to own it. Feeling whole doesn't just make you healthier, it makes you a better person inside and out. Live your best life and feel whole with Advent Health. Visit adventhealth.com.
So we got 26 laps to go now, and it is all Chevrolets out front. The big question now will be, can they possibly milk the fuel cell and take it the whole distance? We don't think they can without a caution flag. But right now it's Byron out front, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman and Kurt Busch. From Daytona International Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Life insurance. For most of us, it's not something we prioritize. Maybe because we don't want to think about a world without, well, us. About how our loved ones would fare should we no longer be around to take care of things like the mortgage, college tuition, grocery bills. But unfortunately, too many of us pass without securing the financial future of our families, which is why there's Ethos. Ethos is a new kind of life insurance company. It believes life insurance should be affordable and accessible for everyone. Ethos was founded by two college roommates who wanted to bring to life insurance the same technological efficiencies that have revolutionized so many other industries. Ethos can quickly provide the best policy for you and your family. Without doctor visits, long applications, and fine print, it can do in minutes what used to take weeks. So no more excuses. Ethos will bring you peace of mind by securing your family's future today.
Go to ethoslife.com now for your free estimate. That's ethoslife.com. Ethoslife.com.
Denny Hamlin will lead the pack up to turn 2. Hey, it's Denny Hamlin. Catch SiriusXM NASCAR Radio live or pull up your favorite shows anytime on demand with the SiriusXM app.
50 down, 25 to go. Byron leading now. William Byron, that is, over Kyle Larson. Elliott, Alex Bowman, Kurt Busch. They're going to try to save fuel, apparently, and maybe go the distance. Will that work? Well, why don't we find out? Let's find out keys to winning today with Rusty Wallace, presented by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch and save pay an average of $796 less per year. Call or click today and find out if we could save you money like hundreds on your car insurance. Rusty, I don't think that was one of the Progressive keys, but it certainly has migrated to the top. Fuel.
Well, right now I got 3 of them, and fuel really is a good one, but it's not on my list at the moment. I'm still sticking with stay calm because right now the tension's starting to heat up. These guys are getting excited, and this is the point where you really wreck a lot. I see a lot of wrecks at this point because everybody's getting kind of jacked up and ready to go. So stay calm. You got a ways to go yet, guys. Another one was find a good drafting partner that you trust out there. Find somebody that will hang with you and just don't let you hang out to dry. And that's what these guys are doing now. They're hunting around, trying to find somebody that they trust. And last one, 10 to go. Man, you better be up front, be in position, because past 10 laps, I don't think you can run the field out and take the lead from what I'm seeing right now.
Well, right now, those are Rusty's keys to winning today, brought to you by Progressive Insurance.
Field continues to circle around. It's broken up somewhat, though. Some cars in turns 3 and 4, others over in turns 1 and 2. We have 23 laps to go in the Busch Clash.
Your home is important. That's why Geico helps make it easy to save on homeowners insurance. Because home is more than just a place. Home is where you build a giant pillow fort in your living room. And when people ask why you have a pillow fort in your living room, you say it's for your dog. And when they ask, well, what kind? You say, chocolate lab. And weave a web of lies that's almost as intricate as the crown molding in Fort Pillow. The Geico Insurance Agency could help protect the pillow soft fortress you call home. Call Geico and see how easy it is to switch and save on homeowners insurance.
Hey there, it's Hall of Fame driver Rusty Wallace for Blue Emu. After spending nearly a quarter of a century in a race car, I know what it means to be banged up and bruised up.
As Wallace spins,
That's why I reach for Blue Emu products to support my muscles and joints. Blue Emu is known for quality and innovation. And Blue Emu is one of the few muscle and joint brands that is 100% owned, distributed, and manufactured in the USA. For Hall of Fame relief, reach for Blue Emu. Works fast and you won't stink.
From Daytona International Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
You ask, and we listen. Atlanta Motor Speedway celebrates its 60th anniversary in 2020 with the new spring race date, March 13th through the 15th, with enhanced camping experiences, grandstand improvements, and so much more, all backed by the perfect weather guarantee. Get 2 races for the price of 1 with the Xfinity Series and Gander Outdoor Truck Series doubleheader on Saturday, while grandstand tickets for Sunday's Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 start at just $39, plus kids tickets are only $10. Online at atlantamotorspeedway.com.
NASCAR is driven by innovation. And now you can hold that power in the palm of your hand. With the NASCAR mobile app for iPhone and Android devices, get access to breaking news.
Tell us the latest and how all this came about.
Driver standings, race previews, team scanner audio.
Man, the intensity picked up quick. It's time to go to work here.
And access to your fantasy team. Visit the App Store or Google Marketplace and download the NASCAR app today.
plugging away at it and see what happens. 24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR is found right here. This is Jimmy Johnson on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
At the World Center of Racing, continuing to circle around with 20 laps to go. Chase Elliott is the race leader, Alex Bowman second, Kurt Busch is third, Joey Logano fourth, Austin Dillon is fifth, and that's how they run currently.
And make no mistake about it now, the Chevys that are running out front are running much, much, much slower than everybody else. The last lap and the last several, 191 miles an hour running together. The guys trying to run them down, driving the Fords and the Toyotas, are running at 199. Dave Moody, this is going to get interesting before it gets over.
Well, it really is, Jeff, and quite honestly, that second group is not at all maximizing its speed because they're running 2 and sometimes even 3 wide. If they got single file, I think they'd be running those Chevys down much more quickly.
Now we have a new leader. It's Chase Elliott who will bail out. Alex Bowman will bypass Elliott. Also Kurt Busch on the move as well. Restacking the front, you've got Bowman, Logano, and Elliott, the top 3.
And it's Austin Dillon next in line, running in fourth, followed by Kurt Busch in fifth, Jimmy Johnson, William Byron, and Kyle Larson, who was leading just a couple laps ago, round out that lead group.
Well, I'll tell you, talk about that lead group. I mean, a lot of them are in fuel-saving mode, trying to save a little fuel to make it to the very end of this race. But that second group, when they pitted, they had 30 laps to go. They got enough fuel in those cars, and I'm telling you what, those cats are flat shaking and baking, man. That's last time by 202 miles an hour for Ryan Blaney.
They are flat out flying around Daytona, at least that draft is. However, with 18 laps to go, it's still Alex Bowman out front.
Next time those engines roar, don't just get pumped up. Get 5% cash back with MoneyLion. Our members get 5% cash back on up to $2,000 in annual purchases of tickets to a NASCAR race from authorized ticket sellers. You'll also get 5% off any at-track purchases and all purchases on NASCAR.com. Just use your MoneyLion debit card and it couldn't be easier. Join the world's most powerful financial membership, MoneyLion. Here we roar.
NASCAR is back. The 2020 NASCAR Cup Series season kicks off.
101,000 are on their feet.
With Racing Super Bowl, the Daytona 500.
The Great American Race is underway and they're headed to one.
Sunday, February 16th.
Hamlin tries to block. Logano pinned in behind him.
As only the Motor Racing Network can bring you.
A multi-car pileup.
All the excitement of NASCAR's biggest race is here.
The Daytona 500.
Sunday, February 16th on the Motor Racing Network.
From Daytona International Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
I'm Chris Riccobono, founder of Untuck-It. I started Untuck-It because, like a lot of other guys, I just couldn't find a shirt that looked great untucked. It's a tough style to get right. That's why we created the perfect untucked shirt, so every guy can look sharp even at his most casual. Untucked shirts have that just right length and come in more than 50 fits for all shapes and sizes. So tall, short, slim, and bigger guys can experience the precise fit of Untuck-It shirts. You'll love our wrinkle-free cotton and super soft performance shirts, all with that perfect untucked length. Try the original Untucked shirt at one of 85 Untuck-It stores worldwide or at untuckit.com. That's UNTUCKIT.com. Untuck-It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked.
Use promo code SIRIUS20 to get 20% off your purchase.
This is Kevin Harvick. Don't forget, Dave Moody hosts Sirius XM Speedway weekdays from 3 to 7 Eastern on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
Back here at Daytona, Joey Logano is now taking his turn at the front of the field. He leads that lead draft, if you will, that Jeff is not running anywhere near as fast as the draft behind them, but by design.
Well, it's by design in order to save fuel, and I'm not sure that this design is going to work. Last lap, 185 and change, but we have to look a little bit further back. Behind Chase Elliott, some 7 seconds just a lap ago, is Brad Keselowski and Ryan Blaney and Eric Almirola and Kyle Busch. They are absolutely flat flying. 2 laps ago, they were 10 seconds back. Last lap, 7 seconds back. Now Dave Moody, only 4 seconds back.
They are slashing that lead like Freddy Krueger on Halloween night. 2 laps ago, it was 3/4 of the back straightaway. Now it's just a couple of seconds. That second group is coming fast.
Yeah, that's got to be a helpless feeling right now, because now you can visibly see them shutting the distance down. Keselowski leading that second draft, and they are gobbling up the lead pack in a hurry.
Ryan Blaney is there right behind Keselowski. A couple of Team Penske Fords also in that second group. Eric Almirola, Clint Boyer, all toward the front of that second pack.
Well, here comes the Thunder working back off turn number 4. They have run them down. The Fords and the Toyotas diving down to the inside of the Chevrolets and going after them in turn number 1. We have 12 laps to go. Back with more in a moment.
Geico presents, oh boy, another voicemail from your roommate.
Hey, I got some bad news. Someone broke into our apartment and they took your TV and your computer. But what's most upsetting is they took my water bottle. Oh wait, there it is. I was really worried for a second. Oh, they took your stereo too.
The Geico Insurance Agency could help keep your personal property protected, like if your roommate is only worried about her $2 aluminum water bottle. Visit geico.com to see how easy it is to switch and save on renter's insurance.
The Chevy Blazer RS is beautifully designed, but don't take our word. Here's what real people are saying.
That's a Blazer? It's a Chevy Blazer?
Oh, this is dope.
This thing is beautiful.
I love the lights.
Look at the interior. This is nice.
This is my sexy mom car.
I would feel like a cool dad.
It flows. It's got a nice body.
I don't know who they got to design this, but give them a cookie and a star.
Discover the Chevy Blazer. Its design speaks for itself. Chevrolet. Find new roads.
Side by side for the lead. Back up in turn number 3. Joey Logano and Austin Dillon are there. William Byron is right there. Jimmy Johnson and Brad Keselowski. The separation of the top 17 cars just a lap ago, 9/10 of a second. This is going to get good before it's over. We're down to the final 11 laps. Don't go anywhere. The Busch Clash, the finish, is next. From Daytona International Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Talking about erectile dysfunction isn't easy. Usually we just brush it off or blame ourselves, saying things like, I lost my mojo. Or we avoid it altogether with excuses like, I had a long day at work. Or, sorry, honey, I'm just not feeling it. But with Roman, it is easy to talk about. With a real doctor who can prescribe real medication. It's simple, safe, and totally discreet. With Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for ED, all from the comfort and privacy of your home. The doctor will work with you to find the best treatment plan, and if medication is appropriate, Roman will ship it to you with free 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward and discreet. Getting started is simple. Just go to GetRoman.com/visit and complete an online visit. Erectile dysfunction used to be tough to tackle, but now there's Roman. Complete an online visit today to connect with a doctor and take care of it. That's GetRoman.com/visit to get a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. GetRoman.com/visit.
24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR is found right here. This is Corey LaJoy on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
It is on here at Daytona.
Trouble off turn 4. Kyle Busch up and into the outside wall. Joey Logano the first to turn, and nearly everybody, at least half the field, involved in the incident off of turn number 4 that started at the front of the field between Joey Logano and Kyle Busch.
Joey Logano was leading the race. He had him 3 wide behind him, a couple of rows deep. He couldn't block all of them with no points on the line. Kyle Busch said it was time to go.
And he did just that. Went to the bottom of the racetrack. Logano tried to save it. Kyle Busch gave him the opportunity. They both ended up into the outside wall, and others became collected off of turn number 4. Not sure who, though, behind all of the smoke that came from the rear tires of those cars off of turn number 4, spinning and crashing onto the front straightaway.
Well, I'm not sure that Kyle Busch and Joey Logano are going to have any more love for each other than what they had when they came in. They got together. You're watching it, Rusty Wallace, Joey chasing Kyle all the way up the racetrack, and when Kyle took to the bottom of the racetrack, Joey went with them, then the two made contact.
Yeah, that was just real hard race. I really can't put the blame on anybody. I mean, you saw Joey Logano. He got loose off of turn 4. Kyle Busch was right on his left rear quarter panel. They made contact. But the hard hit was the 18 car coming across the track and just clobbering Brad Keselowski in a 2 car. while he was up there leading that race. So that was a hard hit for the 2-car of Brad Keselowski. But you know what, guys? You could feel this coming. The intensity was really getting tight out there.
The Money Lion caution is on the speedway for the second time in today's race. Denny Hamlin is the new race leader.
Finish Line, the preeminent free-to-play NASCAR game, is now live and free to download on the Apple App Store or Google Play. Completely free to play. Finish Line asks 7 simple questions to help you make your picks for each week's race. Make 7 correct picks and win or share our $50,000 weekly jackpot. Don't get a perfect score? No worries. We are giving out $1,500 in guaranteed prizes to top finishers each week. Download the Finish Line app today on the Apple App Store or Google Play.
For more than 80 years, Detroit Diesel has been the legendary driving force powering Freightliner and Western Star trucks across North America. Through our state-of-the-art Detroit technologies and components and safety systems, we've earned our customers' trust as a reliable business partner dedicated to improving their bottom line. It's no wonder they continue to depend on Detroit to keep them safe and efficient on the road. When you demand it all, demand Detroit.
Thursday, the stars of the NASCAR Cup Series earn their starting spots for the Great American Race. Live coverage of the Blue Green Vacations Duel at Daytona qualifying races begins at 6 p.m. Eastern, only on the Motor Racing Network.
8 laps to go in the Busch Clash. We're under our second Money Lion caution of the event. Denny Hamlin leads Eric Almirola, Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick, and Ryan Blaney, your top 5 from Daytona International Speedway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Guys, this Valentine's Day, give her the next best thing to wearing nothing at all with soft, silky, naturally nude pajamas. Available exclusively at pajamagram.com. Sensuous and smooth, naturally nude pajamas feel just like her own bare skin. The texture and touch of naturally nude pajamas is so seductive, you'll both stay occupied well into the evening. She'll love the feeling of wearing next to nothing at all, and you'll love the way they look. Best of all, you don't have to wrap, because every pajamagram includes free gift packaging, and delivery by Valentine's Day is guaranteed. Plus, they're backed by a 100% lifetime guarantee. Thousands of men just like you have made their loved ones happy by giving them naturally nude pajamas. You can too. But you need to get these amazing PJs today, because last year they sold out. To get yours, go to pajamagram.com right now. That's pajamagram.com.
Kurt Busch winning the Great American Race.
Hey, it's Kurt Busch. Catch Sirius XM NASCAR Radio live or pull up your favorite shows anytime on demand with the Sirius XM app.
Denny Hamlin, Eric Almirola, Martin Truex Jr., that's your top 3. Still under the Money Lion caution for the big crash over off of turn number 4. Rusty, you've had the opportunity to examine this, go over it with a fine-tooth comb. Initially, you said it looked like just a hard racing crash. You staying with that?
Yeah, I'm pretty well staying with that. I mean, it all happened off of turn 4 when Joey Logano got sideways coming off of turn 4 because he had Kyle Busch really tucked up tight right behind him. Got Joey kind of got him loose off of turn 4, and when that happened, man, he came around and Kyle got in the side of him. But again, one thing I couldn't believe was how hard Brad Keselowski got hit when the 18 car about Kyle Busch came flying across the front of him. He hit so hard that when the 2-car Keselowski crashed, he just kind of lost control of that car. He ended up all the way down on the apron on the entry of turn 1. So far now, we couldn't even find that car. You were going, Jeff, where's the 2-car at?
Yeah.
I said he's in the garage. But heck, he was down there on the apron. Big hit out of everybody.
You're not happy, I can tell you that. Now, you just said after watching it a couple of times you couldn't really apply blame to either Kyle or Joey. I'm just going to go out on a limb here, Rusty, and say that there are 2 people who do not agree with you. One, Kyle Busch, who I would have no doubt is going to blame Joey, and the other being Joey, who I have no doubt is going to blame Kyle. There was blocking going on. When we came back from commercial break, they were running 3 wide, 3 deep into turn number 3. Then things kind of sorted itself out. But the problem is when you're out front, and by the way, that was happening behind Logano, who was the race leader. Logano to the bottom of the racetrack, to the top of the racetrack, trying to throw blocks on anybody advancing. Kyle Busch was advancing. Joey was trying to throw the block.
That's part of super speedway racing. It simply is. Mike Bagley, it was all starting over there in front of you with Logano going to the outside, to the middle, to the inside. Blocking is synonymous with super speedway racing.
Well, with all that going on, Alex, with Joey doing what he could do to hang on to the lead, what I don't think he kept track of is just how quickly Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin were rolling up the middle. Hamlin basically had the nose of that Camry buried in the back bumper of Busch's Toyota, and they were making some hay, and then everything came together over in turn 4. We're getting to the end of this race. The aggression is starting to click up about 15 notches right now, and we've still got more racing to go.
All right, Kyle has made it back to the care center. We're going to do the very best we can to give you Kyle in just a moment. Postman, you're down there in the 22 pit of Joey Logano. Are they saying anything at all?
No, they're just worried about damage repair. Whatever happened between the drivers is between the drivers. The crew is working on the left side of that car. They pitted a couple of times as Joey Logano, as they've got left side damage on that automobile.
So the field continues to work under the money line caution as they have the cleanup finishing up down here at the exit of turn number 4 in Brad Keselowski's area, where he stopped on the inside of turn number 1 with a heavily damaged race car. He has jumped into the ambulance to go to the Advent Health Care Center for the mandatory checkout there. Kyle Busch also had to go do that as well. That being said, we've got cars that are coming down just to get a splash of fuel as we go now to the Advent Health Care Center and Dylan Welch.
And Kyle Busch just finishing up his interview with TV here, and obviously dejected after having such a great race car, and we'll step in here and grab a word with Kyle. Kyle, what are your thoughts just initially kind of seeing the replay there about Joey's moving around and what led to that incident?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to look low, and I knew he was driving low, so then I was, okay, I'm going to go high, and then he drove up the racetrack in front of me, and then I was like, okay, now I got to cut back down and cut low, and when I did, I just I touched him just a little bit, which then turned his car, and then we were just sandwiched, and the wreck was on, you know, so I don't know, you can race or you can wreck. The reason why we ride in single file is because we don't know how to race, so just a product of a few bad decisions there, and we're all crashed.
Thanks, Kyle.
Well, straight honesty from Kyle Busch at the Advent Health Care Center. MRN's Care Center updates are brought to you by Blue Emu. Blue Emu's family of products supports healthy muscles and joints. Blue Emu is family owned and manufactured here in America. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
By the way, there will be 4 laps to go when the field comes back around next time. Alex, you were saying that pit road was open. A number of cars came onto pit road, including Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, Jimmy Johnson is there right now. Winston Kelly, Postman, we'll start with you. Winston, anybody in front of you, and if so, what for?
Eric Jones came in. They took 4 tires and also topped it off with Sunoco fuel. And on Kevin Harvick, he just came in, topped it off with Sunoco fuel. How about in front of you, Posty?
Well, down in Dylan's section, he was back at the care center. We had every Chevy in the property was in, topping it off with fuel. They were on that stretch it strategy, so no more stretching it for the bow tie brigade. Also in that Chevy camp, Jimmy Johnson was in. He had some right front damage. He was behind that crash, so whether debris or whether he actually made some light contact, right front damage for Jimmy Johnson. And they brought Joey Logano's car in to keep working on the right, so the left side of that. Still a lot of damage on Logano's Ford.
By the way, this money line caution coming out helped Eric Jones, puts him back on the lead lap as the beneficiary to get that free pass.
You know, we were talking about Brad Keselowski getting swept up in that crash involving Kyle and Joey. We also said that he was very frustrated when he climbed out of the race car. Here's what he had to say before he got out.
Race to Blaney, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. All right, we got destroyed by a teammate. What? That's completely unnecessary.
You all right there, bud?
Yeah, I'm fine. That was just the dumbest thing.
Yeah, that was pretty dumb. So we were in position, though. Great job today.
Yeah, you guys did a hell of a job. Controlled what we could control. Thank you for doing that. Appreciate the effort.
Yes, sir. Got a lot of work to do next week. Let's go get it.
Well, there you go. Brad Keselowski's in-car radio communication, completely unnecessary. We heard Kyle Busch back there coming out of the Advent Health Care Center say Well, there's racing and there's wrecking, and the reason we ride single file is because we don't know how to race. I'd say tempers are already in mid-season form.
Yeah, that was just frustration. I stick with what I'm saying. To me, that was just a racing thing. I'm not going to pin the blame on anybody. You saw the 22 car go up high to try to block the 18. The 18 went down. Yeah, he got involved of him a little bit, but, that was because of what Joey had to do to get up and try to block him. One thing I don't really agree with what Brad Keselowski's talking to. I saw the 18 car fly across the racetrack and just take out the 2. I didn't see a teammate do that to him, so I don't know what he's referring to in that one.
Well, yeah, we'll wait and see if this festers over through the rest of speed weeks. The lights on the pace car are out. The field is coming off of the 31-degree banking of turn number 4. We expect that Toyota pace car to hit pit road. The field is coming to the Geico restart zone. Whether you rent or own, Geico makes it easy to bundle home and auto insurance. Having a home is hard work, so get a quote at geico.com. Easy.
There will be 3 laps to go. Green flag goes back in the air, and we are back at it again, and we're crashing again. Truex will hit the wall. Ryan Newman goes around. Kurt Busch involved. Harvick involved. Austin Dillon, William Byron, Kyle Larson spinning, crashing, just past the start-finish line, and the caution flag will come out. Somebody spun their tires up there in like row number 2, Rusty. It's hard not for you to smile. You're looking down going, with all this on the line, somebody made a mistake and took out half the field.
Oh, man. The reason I'm looking at that is because that happened to me back in the mid-'90s. They dropped the flag. Myself, Terry Labonte, and all these guys, we made it about 40 foot past the line and wrecked the entire field right there because you lit the tires up and spun them and got sideways. And there we see, we're looking at a replay up here in our booth, and we saw the 6-car Ryan Newman get sideways. He slowed up. Everybody started piling into the back of him. This was a major chain reaction that just happened just now, and these cars were running about 50 miles per hour when this happened.
It's tough. It really is. Ryan Newman was part of it. We don't know if Ryan spun the tires. William Byron was behind him that got into the back of Newman's Mustang. Who knows? Who knows where the blame? The fact is there's going to be 3 sides to every story. Newman's side, Byron's side, and then the truth.
And then we'll also find out how many of them have been able to drive away and be unscathed and try to make it to the checkered flag. A big crash involving several cars, although as we look down here on the front straightaway, yeah, there's debris, but there are no cars there. Everybody able to drive away. We'll recap it when we come back.
Hi, folks. Mike Bagley here. At MRN, we rely on equipment from Racing Electronics.
Joey Logano to the lead on the back straightaway.
Racing Electronics has scanners and headphones. We can listen to every uncensored conversation between driver and crew.
You won the championship, baby, yeah!
And when we need live audio, in-car cameras, and up-to-the-second statistics, use their latest handheld unit called Legend. To learn more about these products and many others, visit racingelectronics.com. Racing Electronics, the official two-way communication partner of MRN.
Jeff Gordon has come from virtually nowhere.
He's one of NASCAR's all-time greats.
For the 93rd time in his career.
A pioneering champion.
Be at the right place at the right time.
The kid who took on the good old boys and changed NASCAR.
We started to go toe-to-toe from Earnhardt.
MRN presents a 10-part podcast series that traces Jeff Gordon's rise to NASCAR legend. Jeff Gordon, the colorful career of the Rainbow Warrior. Available now at MRN.com and your favorite podcast source.
Under the caution flag, I think we have more cars on pit road being fixed than we do on the racetrack. Winston Kelly?
Eric Jones with a hole in the nose of his Toyota. Further up pit road, Ryan Newman, one of those involved. He's got some damage down the left side of the car, a little bit in the front, but they're working on heavily damaged left side Ford Mustang work on Ryan Newman. How about in front of you, Dylan?
There's 3 cars down here, Winston. They're all Chevrolets. Kyle Larson is in. The crew is working on his right front. Right side and back corner damage for Alex Bowman. William Byron, you heard him drop off the jack and drive away. They sawed the entire left rear quarter panel off of his race car, and then the car fell off the jack while they were doing that too. So Chad Knaus was up here on the box calling out the shots and instructing the crew, but no left rear quarter panel on the 24 car of Byron. Alex Bowman still sits on pit road.
That report from Pit Road was presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
And now Pit Road is open. Austin Dillon coming for service. Also Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, and Joey Logano. So a handful of cars stay on the racetrack, including Denny Hamlin and Eric Almirola. They are at the front of the field, again, under the caution flag, and we're headed to overtime. Next, from Daytona International Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Green flag in the air, we're underway.
I am your NASCAR Fantasy Life team, for this week at least. I am the 6 drivers you've handpicked.
Keselowski,
Truex Jr.,
Kurt Busch.
6 drivers you believe will propel you to NASCAR fantasy glory. I am what makes the thrill of watching a race all that much more exciting. And I am found at NASCAR.com/fantasy. Pick your drivers today. I am NASCAR. I am first, the place where it all started. I am dreams coming true and nightmares too. The place where the season begins. I am 101,000 hearts skipping a beat. I am wide open, faster than fast, predictably unpredictable. I am what you've been waiting for, and I am about to go off. I am the Daytona 500, and I am Sunday starting at 2:30 Eastern, only on Fox. I am NASCAR.
Kyle Busch back to the stripe will win. Hey, it's Kyle Busch. Catch Sirius XM NASCAR Radio live or pull up your favorite shows anytime on demand with the Sirius XM app.
Welcome back to Daytona and the 42nd running of the Busch Clash. What's better than a Busch Clash? How about one that goes into overtime and gives you a couple of extra laps? We're headed that way right now. We were just talking during the break. Are we done wrecking? It took Mike and Dave less than a half a second to reply with no. And you know what? They may be right, simply from the standpoint, as long as we have at least 2 cars on the track, there's a pretty good chance they're going to meet one another.
Yeah, I got to believe this is going to happen again, because now the intensity is really cranked up. Everybody's got their old hot rods all patched up, and they're ready to go, and their hearts are pounding inside those cars right now. To think that everybody's going to make it to the end without touching anybody, it's hard for me to believe that, guys.
Yeah, and keep in mind, the better part of this race was all done essentially manufacturer racing. I think you can wad that piece of paper up and throw it away. You got a Toyota and Hamlin up front. You've got a Ford and Almirola, Ford and Blaney second and third. A couple of Chevrolets fourth and fifth, and Elliott and Johnson. Boyer in a Ford in sixth. Then you've got another Chevy and Dillon in seventh. Jones is eighth in a Toyota. Newman ninth in a Ford, and Kurt Busch in a Chevrolet is 10th.
All right, what we know right now is that Kyle Busch is out of the race. So is Brad. So is Truex, and we're just trying to actually make sure of this, because we're trying to take a look around. They're so scattered and spread out. We've got cars on pit road. We've got cars in the garage. We've got cars over in front of Mike Bagley. We just heard that William Byron Dillon has decided to pull the plug. Too much damage on the number 24.
Yeah, they came in and cut that left rear quarter panel off and sent him back out, and then the instructions came on the radio from Chad Canal, said we're done, just pull it back to the garage. So tough break after what was a promising day going forward, William Byron.
By the way, this is just the early part of Speed Weeks 2020. Lots still to come on the Motor Racing Network this coming week. Starting with tomorrow night, we've got a special presentation. 7 o'clock Eastern, MRN presents MRN's 50 years. 7 p.m. Tuesday night, NASCAR Live as always. Wednesday evening, 7 o'clock, it's another special edition of NASCAR Live, the best of the Daytona 500s. Back to racing Thursday here on the Motor Racing Network. It's the Blue Green Vacations Duel at Daytona. Motor Racing Network's live flag-to-flag coverage of those races began at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. On to Friday, we have, of course, racing and practice going on for the Cup cars. It is the season opener for the NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoor Truck Series. You can hear the Next Era Energy Resources 250 on MRN starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, of course, the NASCAR Xfinity Series will race Saturday, and that will be a fantastic fantastic race as always as we get the NASCAR Racing Experience 300 underway, 2 p.m. Eastern there. Of course, the Daytona 500 will cap all of Speed Weeks 2020. The Motor Racing Network proud again to bring you live flag-to-flag coverage of the Great American Race. Mark your calendars, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 week from today. One other note, though, at MRN.com coming up this Wednesday, starting at 8 a.m. and going through the better part of the day, it's Media Day here at Daytona. So we'll have every driver in the Cup Series. We'll have drivers from the Trucks and Xfinity Series on board with us. It's a time to dive deep, learn a little more, have some fun. Again, 8 a.m. MRN.com. Check that out.
All right, here's what we know. We're coming to the green flag. Next time by, we will try to settle it, the Busch Clash. We have gone to overtime, so it will be a green-white checkered flag scenario. We know that there are 13 cars on the lead lap and that will contend for the win. Here are the 13 as they line up. Row 1, Denny Hamlin and Eric Almirola. Row 2 will be Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney. Pick your favorite. Row 3, Jimmy Johnson and Clint Boyer. Row 4 for the restart, Austin Dillon and Joey Logano. Then you've got Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, Eric Jones and Kevin Harvick, along with Kyle Larson. Those are the 13 drivers as we get ready to settle it here in Daytona. What do you think, Alex?
Well, I think the way the last half hour or so of the Busch Clash has been could be something spectacular as the field's coming back to the Geico restart zone.
All right, Denny Hamlin, Eric Almirola, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, eyes on the flag stand, everybody up here at Daytona. Pace car comes to pit road. Alex, take them home.
Here they come to the start-finish line. Green flag goes back in the air, and we're racing again in the 42nd annual Busch Clash. Eric Almirola on the inside lane in a Ford Mustang. Denny Hamlin leads the outside lane in a Toyota Camry.
Hamlin ahead by only about a fender, but he's not going to have much lead as he gets to the corner. Almirola back to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll put a fender up on the bottom of the racetrack. He's got drafting help from Ryan Blaney. Topside Almirola. He's got help from Chase Elliott, or Hamlin from Chase Elliott.
Now everybody flares out onto the back straightaway. Hamlin leads the outside line. Eric Almirola leads the inside line. Elliott gets into Hamlin. Hamlin hangs onto the car and will keep the lead. Unbelievable. Now Hamlin's around. Almirola, Blaney, 5 others. Matter of fact, the only one to get through, Chase Elliott, as they all crash and collide, headed to Kyle Rickey in 4.
A head-on shot for Jimmy Johnson up and into the outside wall. Chase Elliott, Austin Dillon, the only 2 cars without damage. Clint Boyer's involved. Ryan Blaney, Eric Almirola, Kevin Harvick, Ryan Newman, Kyle Larson, Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch, and there's more, Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano, all trying to pull away from the scene of the incident.
Money Lion caution flag is out. You heard Bagman make the call probably 40 seconds ago. We've had a grand total of 3 cars come across the line. Undamaged at the front of the field, Chase Elliott. Undamaged right behind him was Austin Dillon. Eric Jones completely torn up. Toyota comes across the line, and he was followed by Kyle Larson, who actually restarted back in 13th. Everybody else is wadded up over there in turn number 4. So the Money Lion caution flag is out, presented by Money Lion, the world's most powerful financial membership. Money Lion, here we roar.
Well, Chase Elliott was the one to get through that incident. Mike Bagley, you're over there in the backstretch. Does Chase Elliott may have a problem, maybe a tire going down?
Well, I'm looking at the left sides, and they look up to me here. But let's just flash back for a moment with the Denny Hamlin situation. He turned all by himself. He didn't have any contact. Wonder if he had some damage from that previous crash that he was trying to nurse home. Elliott, though, and Austin Dillon look okay. Everybody else that's on the track has some kind of damage in one way or another.
And guys, just to my right at the entrance of the pit lane, it looked like a couple of cars got together trying to make it to pit road. Among the drivers trying to pull away from the scene of the incident here in turn number 4. And at my feet here at the exit of turn 4, Jimmy Johnson, the only car that remains stopped. He has climbed out. A lot of front end damage to that Chevrolet.
Happen to be thinking here, what happens if we run out of race cars before we run out of laps? Do we go back and look at the driver that completed the most laps before they came to pit road? That's not going to happen, but we're getting close. We are really looking over the number 9 car, that Mountain Dew Chevrolet. Alex Hayden with the binoculars on it. We are trying to determine whether the tire has gone down. Alex, you're saying you're not sure. Dave, it's headed your way. Maybe get a good look at that.
I can tell you there's some damage on the right rear of Chase Elliott's car. The yellow that is the Goodyear marking around the outside of that tire is completely gone. Dylan Welch, do you have more?
Yeah, Chase has said it's flat. He said he can feel that it's flat inside the race car. So they're kind of obviously trying to figure out what they want to do, because it maybe doesn't look like it's flat from outside, but Chase has said he can feel that it's flat. So the crew is on the wall down here trying to figure out exactly what the plan of attack is for Chase Elliott.
Well, you called that about a lap before you actually saw it come by here. Great call. Unfortunately for Chase Elliott, although it may not be that bad, there's not that many cars out there. If they can make it around without tearing up that race car, they'll come to pit road, they'll get brand new tires, they'll come back out and rejoin, and we'll do this all over again. This is crazy, Rusty.
It is crazy, and I was sitting here watching, trying to think, what in the world just happened? I saw Denny Hamlin get down into turn 3, and that car just spun around. But further review, it looks what happened. Coming down the back straightaway, Denny Hamlin was getting a good bump draft from the car behind him. In fact, he got so hit so hard that it jammed Denny Hamlin's right rear quarter panel up into his right rear tire. And when he approached turn 3, the tire blew out. Denny spun right in front of the entire field, and this is what's caused this last big wreck, that bump drafting gone wrong to cause his tire to get blown out. So because of that, now we got to re-rack this thing and see what's going to happen. 3/4 of the field is destroyed. Looks like we got about 5 or 6 cars out there still rolling, and we'll see which one's in good shape. But we're looking at the 9 car. He's our leader right now, Chase Elliott. We'll have to see about that right rear tire issue.
Well, with that tire down, as he reported on the radio, that Dylan Welch reported, here's the issue for Chase Elliott. The head of pit road is completely blocked with wrecked race cars and emergency vehicles. Pit lane is closed. He's going to have to stay on the racetrack and keep going around and nurse that right rear flat tire. Now, on tracks over 1 mile in length, Goodyear and NASCAR have the rule. They have what's called an inner liner inside the outer shell tire. If the outside loses the air, for safety reasons, they have the inner liner, on all 4 of these tires. That's what Chase is riding around on. The problem is if that outer carcass starts to come apart and starts flapping at 70 miles an hour behind the pace car, then that can really cause some significant cosmetic and body damage on the right rear corner, perhaps even tear up suspension parts. The problem, again, to compound it, is Chase, as the leader, must maintain pace car speed or he's going to lose that track position.
Right now, there are 3 separate junkyards here on the property. One of them a junkyard in the garage, one of them a junkyard on pit road. The other junkyard is down in turn number 4. We got a lot of cleanup to do. We've lost a lot of cars. As they came by just a moment ago, there were 5 cars running behind the pace car. 5. Chase Elliott, we already know. Alex just documented. He'll be on pit road soon. They'll change the tires. At the moment, they're okay. Austin Dillon is there. Kyle Larson, Ryan Newman, and Clint Boyer. Those are the 5 cars, Rusty, 5 that are behind the pace car.
Well, it looks like
if the pace car stayed out, it would finish 6.
Yeah, it's going to be a 4 or 5 car shootout. There is no doubt about that. Going back to the right rear tire on the 9 car, Chase Elliott, as Alex was talking about that, I actually put the binoculars on that right rear tire. It is definitely flat, so there's no doubt about that. And good call on what you just said, Alex, because that right rear tire could come apart pretty easy. The speed they're running right now, it might hang in there, because they're only running about 40 miles an hour out there. Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
The red flag is being displayed. There is an awful lot of cleanup going on in turns 3 and 4 and at the entrance to pit road. The field, all 5 of them, have come to a stop at the on the Daytona Super Stretch with beautiful Lake Lloyd to driver's left while they continue to get the racetrack back where it needs to be. Now, it's a non-points paying race, Jeff, and all these cars, there are 3 of them on the pit lane right now. Eric Jones, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin. Since it's a non-points paying special event race, they are, in fact, allowed to work on the race cars during the red flag.
And that's what they're doing right now, working on the race cars under the red flag. Chase Elliott will now just sit there and, let's take a quick swing around the racetrack. If you have not been with us the entire time, well, you've missed something special. And let's do this. Dave, Mike, Kyle, weigh in on this. Not only what we have witnessed here, what you see and what you think might happen. Dave, let's start with you over in turn number 2.
Well, in terms of what might happen, Jeff, I guess the odds of 5 cars piling it up on a restart are a lot better than the odds of 15 or 25, so hopefully we should be able to negotiate this final green-white checker. As far as what I've seen today, I think Rusty Wallace missed the boat. The key to the race today should have been wreck less than twice, because that seems to be the path to victory lane so far, Mike Bagley.
Yeah, this is one of the more bizarre Busch clashes I've ever called, because stop and think, about midway race, you had that pit strategy all sequence situation with the Chevrolets, and you had 2 different packs on opposite ends of the racetrack. Then you had the crash, and then you had the crash on the restart, and then you had Hamlin cutting down the tire here. And by process of elimination, it's almost like the last man on the track wins. And, well, right now we're down to 5, and as far as what to expect, we've just seen about everything. Nothing would surprise me before we reach the end of this one. Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, and you mentioned those 5 cars that are left on the racetrack. At least 2 of those cars were involved in the incident here in turn 4. I saw Clint Boyer in the grass at the apron of turn 4. Kyle Larson may have got a bit of damage as well in this incident, and it's going to be a while before these 5 or maybe 6 cars continue. Eric Jones came by here a moment ago running in 3rd before the red flag, but had a tough time seeing as the hood was bowed up. A lot of front end damage on that Toyota. A lot of fluid now left on the racetrack as all the cars have been removed from turn number 4. But when Jimmy Johnson went head on into the outside wall, busted the radiator, a lot of fluid put down on the racetrack from the top of turn number 3 right to the bottom of turn 4 to the exit of turn 4 here in Daytona.
Well, by virtue of listening in via the Racing Electronics radios out there, we talked about Chase Elliott having the flat tire, as Dylan Welch reported. Here's what Chase Elliott had to say on his in-car communication.
Yeah, that was chaos. I was trying to square Denny up, to hit him straight, but the 14 was hitting me at the same time. He had damage from that crash before. I think that's what got him. I think he had a tire go down. Still closed here. The 3 took another look at it. He said it might not be in the tire. It's really close, FYI. Well, I can assure you it's flat, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, understood. If we can pit when it's open, we'll be able to get back up, basically, to the front there. That really sucked. We would have been fine. I don't know if me trying to get around him, whatever got me loose, I ended up hitting the wall at the right rear.
All right, well, that was Chase Elliott talking about getting together. Yeah, Clint and Chase got together trying to escape the wreck up there in turn number 4, cut down the tire, and now Chase is sitting on the back straightaway with, a handful of cars that remain here. And here it is, folks. You've been waiting for this announcement. It is official. 18 cars took the green flag, and now we can proudly say that
18 cars have been involved in a wreck today.
At least one.
At some point. So we know whoever takes the checkered flag first is going to be driving a damaged race car.
And by the way, to go back to something Dave Moody said, and Rusty, I think you want to weigh in on this, he said that one of your progressive keys to winning should be not to wreck your race car, and actually one of your progressive keys to winning the race was indeed don't wreck your race car.
Well, he said twice, and I only said it once, so technically he is right. But I will tell you, I'm half right too, because I put down on my progressive keys, I said stay calm and don't wreck, because this is a racetrack that you cannot stay calm at in the Busch Clash. You got to stay jacked up and going, but if you stay jacked up and going too hard, this is what's happening. And all these drivers are what I call all jacked up right now. And they got to calm down a little bit.
Keep in mind, there are no points on the line for the season-long championship. So that being said, there is still the opportunity and the prestige to stand in victory lane with a big trophy and a big check here at the World Center of Racing.
Is this something, I guess I got to pose this to the two of you, and maybe we can even get a thought from Postman or one of our folks on pit road. Is this kind of the precursor to what we're going to see this week? We've got the duels coming up, trying to make the Daytona 500, trying to show everybody that, you know, we're going to be the king of the mountain. If you're going to win a Daytona 500, you got to beat us. We've been working hard in the off season, so we start there. We roll under the lights on Friday night. We know the truck race is always spectacular here. It's going to be again. Saturday, we kick off the Xfinity Series. here on a Saturday afternoon. Motor Racing Network airtime 2 o'clock. And then, of course, Sunday, the Daytona 500. Everybody wants to win it. Is this what we're going to see, yes or no? Alex Hayden, start with you. What do you think?
I don't think we're going to see this much calamity in the Daytona 500. Yeah, we're going to see some wrecks. That's just the nature of the beast, and that's the competition and the competitiveness of these drivers. These are the best stock car drivers in the world, and they all want to win the Daytona 500, the biggest race of the year. I think we're going to see a spectacular race, and I'm encouraged because we saw an inside lane run quite well today. We saw the outside lane show a lot of speed, obviously, but there's multiple lanes based off of what we saw today.
Look, when you only got 18 cars on the racetrack, that's not enough cars to really stir up the wind and get these cars all going. Then we're going to get into 150s, and we're going to have some more than that in there by about 2 or 3 cars in each race. That race generally stays fairly calm, too. But when you get 40 cars out there in the Daytona 500, and they're all running around this racetrack, I'm telling you what, they're thinking points. They're thinking I need to survive. They're thinking I got to get a good finish. But they do not have to think that today. Today in the Busch Clash with no points and all money, they can just afford to go, and throw that to the wind. And that's what we saw today. So to answer your question, Jeff, I think it's going to get calmer and won't be near this wild.
Well, why don't you, race fans, stay with us throughout the week. And by the way, follow us at MRN.com if you want to know the schedule, you want to know what he said about this or that. And by the way, there will be some of that. You're going to want to follow us at MRN.com. Red flag gone, yellow flag out, 6 minutes and almost 7, just shy of 7 minutes under the red flag. Posty, I want to pose it to you this way. And we had a couple of questions, so you can help us out on that. Some people are saying, man, they're tearing up their Daytona 500 car. What are they going to do? I think we need to remind everybody, Posty, these are disposable race cars. They have nothing to do with the Daytona 500.
Well, yes, they're the third string Daytona 500 car, okay? So, yeah, they are right. This is not the car they came here planning to run the Daytona 500 with. Here's where it gets interesting, though. If they end up getting into trouble in one of the duel on Thursday night in their duel race, well, then they're scrambling around trying to make sure they have a backup car. So, yes, this car was not designated for the Daytona 500, but it is the third string car for many of these teams. And, well, many of these teams are sitting here right now without a third string car available to them because there's some wadded up sheet metal around this joint.
Well, Chase Elliott has finally been able to come to pit road. He's in front of Dylan Welch.
Yeah, and that right rear tire, they just took it off. It looks low for sure, and there is some sheet metal damage on the right rear quarter panel. That's the area of emphasis right now. So the thumbs up signal just given from the crew that they are good to go. So Alan Gustafson wanted to make sure that they had all the crush panels and everything pulled away from that tire so they don't have another cut down here on this restart. So just making some last-minute finishing touches, and Chase Elliott down and away.
Looks like a 4-car fast car dash on a Friday night at your short track, lined up behind the pace car. Yeah, only 4 cars over there. More will be joining. Chase now coming off the end of pit road. Clint Boyer will join. Joey Logano just torn up, and that car I'm not sure is going to keep up to speed. They'll come to pit road. The green flag and overtime finish right after this. First, though, we got to pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Motor Racing Network.
24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
The 42nd annual Busch Clash at Daytona is in overtime, and we are about to settle it, coming around to take the green flag with what's left of what was an 18-car field has now been whittled down to only 6. Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson, Ryan Newman, Eric Jones, Chase Elliott, and Clint Boyer. And some of those people, Alex, are probably going, wait a minute, what did he say? Yeah, 6.
7. Here comes
7.
Boyer. Boyer's finally caught up to him. So 2, 4, 7 cars on the racetrack as they make their way through turns 3 and 4, coming to the Geico restart zone. Today, here at Daytona, it started with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. winning the pole for the Daytona 500. We've got this wild Busch Clash going on. We've got a full moon tonight. And at 11 o'clock tonight, just south of us here, we've got a scheduled rocket launch. So all kinds of stuff happening here, and this one's wild.
All right, it looks like a heat race on a Saturday night at your local short track. Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson, Newman, Jones, Elliott, Boyer, and Hamlin. Who will win the Busch Clash?
Green flag back in the air. Inside lane is Austin Dillon. Outside lane is Kyle Larson. They do have drafting help, albeit minimal, headed to turn 1.
Larson gets himself about 3/4 of a car length advantage in the outside lane, but as usual, the bottom comes back strong once they hit the banking. Here comes Austin Dillon. Drafting help behind him from Ryan Newman. They're 2x2 all the way back through all 3 rows.
Elliott giving Larson a shove in the outside line. That's enough to give him the lead by about a fender, but here comes Austin Dillon down low. They're bouncing off each other for just a moment. Elliott with another shove. Oh, and he's jamming Larson right into the corner.
Kyle Larson to the front of the field. Now he and Chase Elliott come together. Both cars hard into the outside wall. Larson goes around. Chase Elliott into the wall. And Eric Jones, for the 3rd time here at this end of the speedway, also involved in the incident. 3 of the 6 cars come together here in turn 4.
And caution. Money Lion, caution, no checkered flag. The yellow flag is waving yet again. Back to Kyle Rickey. And Kyle, I know you got the binoculars on the 9 car, and actually I can see him now moving around inside the car, talking about Chase Elliott. In fact, Bagman, let's go back to you first. Chase Elliott with a huge run down the super stretch, caught Kyle Larson going into turn number 3.
Yeah, that shove started about 3/4 of the way down the backstretch, and Chase was just shoving Larson, and then tried to squeeze to the outside. Larson moved up to block him. Elliott moved down. Larson through the block, and Kyle, that led us to another Money Lion caution after that.
Yeah, Larson got sideways in turn number 4. It was only a matter of time as the contact began over in turn number 3, a couple of 100 yards down the racetrack here in turn number 4. The 42 broke loose, and Kyle Larson, he tried to save the car, went shooting back across the racetrack. Chase Elliott was there. Both went piling into the outside wall, and unfortunately for Eric Jones, he had nowhere to go and became involved in the incident as well.
Well, Money Lion caution is on the speedway again. We're down to 4 cars. I can do it all on one hand now. 4 cars, Austin Dillon, Ryan Newman, Clint Boyer, and is that Eric Jones out there on the racetrack.
All right, you were just talking about the fact that we will do this until we take the checkered flag. Explain it, Alex.
Yeah, normally there's 3 attempts at a green-white checker, but just checked with the race control next door, and they said, no, this being a special event, we are going to go until we find ourselves a checkered flag and a winner.
Kyle Larson was on pit road. He will rejoin, so there'll be 5 cars to go. By the way, it's now official. The last man standing will win in this demolition derby, and of course that is a joke, but only 5 cars remaining, and they are Austin Dillon, Ryan Newman, Clint Boyer, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson. Do not go anywhere. Overtime continues.
For more than 80 years, Detroit Diesel has been the legendary driving force powering Freightliner and Western Star trucks across North America. Through our state-of-the-art Detroit technologies and components and safety systems, we've earned our customers' trust as a reliable business partner dedicated to improving their bottom line. It's no wonder they continue to depend on Detroit to keep them safe and efficient on the road. When you demand it all, demand Detroit.
Sir, are you aware you were going 40 miles an hour? This is a residential area.
Sure, but I'm on my lawnmower? Wait, am I getting a ticket?
No, I've just never seen anyone top 9 miles an hour on one of those bad boys. And mow their entire lawn in 30 seconds? What got into you?
Well, it did fuel up at Sunoco this morning.
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Friday night, the NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series kicks off the season at Daytona. Live coverage of the NextEra Energy Resources 250 begins at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on the Motor Racing Network.
Significantly more cars in the garage than on the racetrack. In fact, 2/3 of the cars that took the green flag are gone. 5 remain. Make it 6. Denny Hamlin, albeit not on the lead lap, says, you know what, I'll play, and he will come back out onto the racetrack and try to finish this out. So will we. Don't go anywhere. More from Daytona in just a moment. Austin Dillon, Ryan Newman, they're together up front when we go back under the green flag. From Daytona International Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
At Quicken Loans, our 17,000 team members know that home is so much more than a house. That's because our clients tell us all the time. Hey, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, and we want to help you save money on your mortgage with some of the lowest refinancing rates ever. Rates are historically low. You may be able to reduce your rate and save money on your monthly mortgage payment right now. Pay off some credit card debt or put some money towards that new bathroom or kitchen you've always wanted. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%. APR 4.23%. That's right, 3.99%. While we can't predict what will happen in the future, we do know that rates have dropped and now is the time to save money on your mortgage. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn how refinancing now may be the right mortgage solution for you. That's 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rates subject to change. Pay 2% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
This is Brad Keselowski on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. Channel 90. Catch SiriusXM NASCAR Radio live or pull up your favorite shows anytime on demand with the SiriusXM app.
Let's get back to racing.
And that is the man that will line up inside row 2, Clint Boyer, ready to rock and roll. Alongside of him, by the way, is Eric Jones in a car that is completely demolished, front to back, top to bottom, and he's probably going to finish no worse than 5th. Eric Jones set to go. Kyle Larson is out there. That car is completely used up. Hamlin is a lap down. Up front, though, Austin Dillon and Ryan Newman. Classic Ford versus Chevrolet battle, Alex Hayden, to end it.
Yeah, it really is. And by the way, just for those of you keeping score at home, this will be lap number 86 coming to the line. This is officially, by lap count, the longest Busch clash in history.
By far.
Wow.
By far.
That is unbelievable. Well, let's hope we get this baby finished now. But we just had a replay there. I was actually looking at our monitor up here in the booth. Richard Childress. This guy's won championships, won big races like this. He's looking out there at his 3 car. He's thinking, hey, man, we still got a shot. And he's coaching those guys along. So, Austin Dillon actually has looked pretty good all day long. He's been at the back of the pack, in the middle of the pack, and so here we go again, guys.
Here they come. Pace car be on the pit lane. Green flag goes in the air. Austin Dillon gets away with a lead. He has got a battered trunk full of Clint Boyer on the inside lane. They're trying to run away.
Here they come. Boyer to the inside as Dillon scoots away to about a car length advantage. Boyer looking down on the inside. Eric Jones, what's left of the Eric Jones car, giving drafting help to the Ryan Newman machine. Across the track, Dillon tries to block Newman to the bottom.
Newman pulls to the inside. Now turn number 2 and onto the back straightaway. Now they're 3 wide. Jones comes up the outside. It's Austin Dillon stuck in the middle. Larson shoves Eric Jones to the lead with a crossover in 3.
Eric Jones to the front of the field, but it does not last long. Here's Kyle Larson to the bottom of the racetrack. Eric Jones in 2nd. Ryan Newman now pulls up alongside in 3rd.
And amazingly enough, we have reached the white flag. 1 to go here in Daytona, racing back to the line. 3 and 4 wide. Ryan Newman with the lead, then Dillon and Kyle Larson racing back to turn 1.
A group of cars that collectively have the aerodynamics of a burlap sack, but somehow they're going to try and get it home. It's Newman by a car length over Dillon, another car length back to Boyer. They run single file off 2.
Here comes Newman and company up the back straightaway for the final time. Looks in the rearview mirror. They begin to flank out. Dillon looks outside, looks inside. Dillon squeezing down low. Jones topside. 3 wide for the lead in 3.
The Toyotas have hooked up on the back straightaway. Eric Jones and Denny Hamlin, and they go to the front of the field in turn number 4. It's Jones by a car length over Hamlin off the corner.
His teammate behind him. Eric Jones leads. The front of his race car is missing. Checkered flag in the air. Eric Jones by half a car length will win the 42nd annual Busch Clash at Daytona. Denny Hamlin comes across the stripe in the second spot. They come to the stripe, checkers in the air. Eric Jones has a battered race car, Winston Kelly, but he's going to victory lane.
I tell you what, I said during the last break that Chris Gale and the crew, they are the hardest working crew on pit road this particular race. We're going to get up here, try to get a comment from Chris Gale. They had one heck of a battered up race car. See if we can. Chris, how about that? Would you have bet anything on that when you saw that battered race car about 10 laps ago?
No, but I knew the last two restarts we had the 11 behind us, and he was down a lap or two each time. So, I knew he was going to help us. It just depended on what happened, right? I mean, you just keep working and stay in it, right?
You got to be proud of that crew, how they rebuilt that car or patched it up.
Yeah, they did a great job. What do you say? None of us expected this. It's kind of chaotic all the time, but worked out.
Chris Gale going to victory lane. Coach Joe Gibbs down here leading a prayer with his crew, and we're going to join him in victory lane.
All right, so here's the deal. Chris Gabehart, who is the crew chief for Denny Hamlin, you wondered why in the world would they send that car out there one lap down. Now you know the rest of the story. If it hadn't been for Denny Hamlin running one lap down, Eric Jones wouldn't be in victory lane. Denny caught Eric, shoved him by Austin Dillon, shoved him by Clint Boyer and Kyle Larson, shoved him all the way to the checkered flag in the Busch Clash. Denny Hamlin will finish one lap down in 6th. So it's Eric Jones, Austin Dillon, Clint Boyer, Kyle Larson, Ryan Newman, top 5. And Denny Hamlin, he may be the man of the hour. He's not going to get the credit other than from his teammate, Eric Jones, who is headed to Gatorade Victory Lane.
Progressive presents Get Pumped. Inspiration to help you do insurance stuff.
Hey, are you just gonna stand there and let people not give you credit for being a good driver? You deserve discounts on car insurance, and that's what Snapshot from Progressive is for. So why aren't you signing up? You need music to get pumped? Hit it! Drum solo! Ow, that hurts my fingers. Ow, ow, ow.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California, North Carolina, or from all agents.
O'Reilly.
This is Jesse's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
As a nurse, not making it to work was not an option. But driving through the snow with my wiper blades struggling, I just didn't feel safe. So I pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts, and before I knew it, an employee was offering to install the wiper blades on my car. I got to stay out of the snow for a moment, and I still made it to work on time.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. NASCAR Live Race Day continues on the Motor Racing Network.
Thanks, Danny. You got to be kidding me. Thanks, DH. Good job, Jones. How about that, Jones? Nice way to start off, boys. Yeah, I was going to tell you to burn it down, but I think you already have.
That was Eric Jones, who is celebrating his victory here today. Sunoco, the official fuel of NASCAR. Sunoco, fueling victories all season long. Let's get quickly now to Steve Post.
Yeah, down here, Kyle Larson kind of doing a debrief in the Advent Health car as he's kind of debriefing and going forward here. Kyle, you describe your run here this afternoon and your top 5 finish, surviving this one here at Daytona.
Yeah, it was a bit crazy. Just lots of wrecks there at the end, but surprised I still had a shot to win there with a beat-up car. It's been in a few wrecks.
There we go. Kyle Larson, he is doing his media obligation, and he's headed to Volusia to run his World of Outlaws sprint car tonight. Dylan Welch.
And Austin Dillon comes home second, I think, with the cleanest race car in the top 5. But what did you need there on that backstretch just to try and block that run or just hold those guys off?
My spotter did a good job. He tried to tell me to go high. I was too focused out the front on Newman. I kind of moved up, and he blocked it well. So I tried to go back left, and when I did that, my run was killed. So just need a little help. Probably should have got with the 42 under the caution and tried to figure something out, but it stinks. We were out of cars really at the end as far as Chevy goes, but learn from that and keep going. Got our Semicord Chevy's still in one piece.
Yeah, what could have been for sure. Austin Dillon comes home in second. Steve?
Yeah, Clint Boyer standing down here, a third-place run in a beaten and battered Mobile 1 Ford, and Clint, I'll tell you what, how do you describe that race and that one here from your perspective today?
Well, you know, when we was running around there single file, I too, just like you guys in the stands, were thinking, man, this kind of sucks. This is boring. I wish we'd have stayed that way. All hell broke loose when we went too wide. My God. We just finished. That's all I can say.
Just finished. Clint Boyer, a happy finisher here today. Dylan Welch.
And let's walk over here and grab a word with Ryan Newman, who comes home in the 5th spot. And what a race. Had a shot there at the end and just kind of held on there. What did you think of those last few laps with everybody leaning on each other like that?
Well, it's a disappointing finish with a good race car. Our Koch Industries Ford was strong. Best super speedway car I've had in quite a while. It gives me a lot of hope looking forward towards the Daytona 500 and next week, but just got out-teamed there at the end. It was just unfortunate for that part of it, but those guys did what they needed to do. They worked as an organization and put themselves back up in front. We just didn't have anybody to work with.
That's Ryan Newman. Numbers not in his favor, but he comes home in the fifth spot. Steve Post is with perhaps the man of the hour.
Yeah, absolutely. Eric Jones might think he's the man of the hour. Denny Hamlin back out on the racetrack. Maybe a little assist there. Describe the last few laps and your young teammate going to victory lane.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten so much better at the super speedway racing, and really these two teams didn't quit. I mean, we were talking about taking it to the garage, and I'm like, wheels fine, and I didn't hit anything direct with the wheels, and so we put it all back together. Luckily, we had the red there to finish doing some damage control, and once we linked up, I knew that he was going to be in for a ride as long as he could handle it, and I was able to get it done for him.
Hey, what happened in turn number 3? You got to the lead, and what happened to the car?
We blew a tire. Just that damage that I had there from the 22 and 18 wreck. I didn't think I was going to have a chance to win by coming in and pitting on a green-white checkered. With all the carnage that happened, yeah, maybe, but I just thought our best shot was to stay out there, and obviously we blew a tire while leading.
Yeah, blew a tire while leading and gets the assist with his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate, Denny Hamlin, rolling off and looking at the scoring pylon. Of course, this is unofficial. 6th place finish for Denny Hamlin.
I wouldn't say that was too bad at all. He was one lap down, shoving his teammate Eric Jones to the lead. By the way, Eric Jones, out of the 88 laps run today, led only one lap. And that was the one that counted. Lap number 88, as it turns out. By the way, when Eric Jones won the Cup race here in July 2018 at Daytona, he led only one lap in that race. Oh, by the way, it was the last one on that one, too.
You know, I was thinking as he was sitting down here, Rusty, in front of us, he got out of the race car to celebrate with the fans, and we got a pretty close-up look at that car. Now, you've done a lot of short-track racing in your day with you and your son, Steven. I've done some. We know Eric has done some. He's been on every bull ring short track in the country. He's won races, and he's been used up. And I would imagine that car that he just won here at Daytona is more used up than any of his late model stock cars. I mean, you had a chance to see that car. There's not a straight piece on it. The hood was trying to rip off. The doors are trying to fly off. It looks like it's been in a demolition derby.
Yeah, I can't believe he finished, actually, because the front end is pushed back so far that it looks like it knocked the radiator clear out of it. He's basically missing a front end on the front of Eric Jones's car, but that just goes to show you how strong the draft is. Even though he had no front end, Denny Hamlin was able to push him right past the rest of those cars, and that's what we're going to see during the 150s and the Daytona 500. Strong drafting, probably.
All right, here's the deal. Look at this. Eric Jones's last lap, the one that he led, he ran 195 miles an hour. Why is that important? Look at those cars and their speeds behind him. That's why he just flat out, with help from a teammate, drove right by him and right to victory lane.
Yeah, because his pushing teammate behind him, Denny Hamlin, was also running 195 miles an hour. The second place car of Austin Dillon was 191. Boyer finished third, was a 191. Larson fourth was 190. Newman, who finished fifth, was 187. So those two cars hooked together in that tandem draft that we've seen in the past. It paid dividends, and paid dividends in a big, big way.
5 miles an hour quicker than at least the other drivers that were in the field. Pretty interesting.
It really is. And for Joe Gibbs Racing and their dominance a year ago, yeah, Eric Jones got to victory lane last year to help that team in that 19 wins across the board. But how big was it for this Michigan native to get out in 2020 with a one-year contract under his belt to get straight to victory lane?
Huge, and I'll tell you why. More than just the obvious of going to victory lane. It was a teammate that helped him get there. Just when you think you're on an island, you look in the rearview mirror, and there's your teammate. Now, let's go down to Gatorade Victory Lane and hear from him with Winston Kelly talking about the winner, and that's Eric Jones.
I believe he could write a book on this win. I'm not sure where to start, but I got to start with those last 2 laps with this battered race car. Take us through and what got you here to victory lane.
Well, I got to thank Denny off the bat. I mean, he pushed us really good there at the end and, got us to the lead and got us out front. But, you know, it was wild. I mean, we got in a few wrecks, obviously, and tore the car pretty bad. I didn't know how rough it was. I knew it was still holding water and oil, so we were in okay shape, and we were able to get, you know, Sport Clips camera to victory lane. So, I mean, it feels good. What a way to start the year, right, in victory lane. So I hope we can keep it going from here and keep racking them up.
You said a few wrecks. I think you were in and around all of them, but I counted 3 that you were in pretty significant, especially the next to the last one. Have you looked at the front of this car and how battered it is? And take us through that repair that the team did when you did come down on that red flag.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, but, you know, Camry kept running strong. I mean, we came down, and I didn't really know what we were trying to fix. I couldn't see it, but I could tell the hood was pretty tore up and in the right front as well. So I didn't know it was that bad, to be honest with you, until now. But, you know, it sure feels good to be able to come out with a win. You know, especially to race with perseverance like that. You don't want to give up, and when it pays off in the end, you know, it makes it a little bit extra special. How different was the handling of the race car after that really bad accident and then that last couple of laps? Could you feel that much different in the race car? Well, it was dragging the front a lot. We were dragging. I think we knocked splitter bars down pretty hard, and there was a lot of contact, and it felt a little draggy compared to probably how we started the race. But with Denny being able to stay locked on there for that last lap, I was trying to find him there and see where he was and get a push. And finally there we got hooked up getting into 1, and he was able to stay on. But it definitely it didn't drive as good as we started the day. I guess we can say that. I tell you, if there's any kids out there that hear people say, don't ever give up, this is a classic example of that. You won here at Daytona before. Enjoy another one, Eric. Thank you. Appreciate it. That's Eric Jones. He wins the Busch Clash in a beat-up, battered Sports Clips Toyota, but he is here in victory lane. Looking at the front of this car, it looks like one of those cartoon characters that somebody just punched it in the mouth, and the whole mouth and the teeth are punched back in their head. This is just unbelievable, but he is in victory lane.
All right, Winston Kelly, thank you very much. Our congratulations go out to Eric Jones as the celebration continues down in Gatorade victory lane. Tested in the lab, proven on the field. Gatorade Thirst Quencher, the proven sports fuel.
18 cars took the green flag. Here's how all 18 cars finished. Eric Jones, the winner, of course. Austin Dillon was second. Clint Boyer third. Kyle Larson was fourth, and Ryan Newman fifth. Denny Hamlin, 1 lap down, was the last car running. He finished sixth. Chase Elliott was seventh. Ryan Blaney eighth. Joey Logano 9th, and Eric Almirola 10th.
Jimmy Johnson was 11th. Kurt Busch 12th. 13th, Kevin Harvick. 14th, William Byron. Alex Bowman 15th, Martin Truex Jr. 16th, Brad Keselowski 17th, and Kyle Busch finished 18th.
Well, Rusty Wallace, the Busch Clash is in the books for 2020. A little bit of everything we saw today, I would say.
Yeah, we really did. You know, we started this race with me saying you really need to be in this race so you can learn about your car for the 150s and for the 500, transfer that information over there. Unfortunately, I'm afraid we really didn't get any rhythm going today. I don't think the guys really learned a whole lot. I really can't sit here and say this guy had the fastest car because all of them looked like they were pretty quick, but doggone, I was so many wrecks and the issues they had. They probably learned a little, but nothing like they thought they could.
Yeah, it was interesting, to say the least. We're not done. It's Speed Weeks, and this is only weekend number 1. By the way, you can go to MRN.com to see the entire Motor Racing Network air schedule. And we'll start things off tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, as MRN presents MRN's 50 years, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, it's NASCAR Live. Wednesday, we will have double coverage starting at 8 a.m., Daytona 500 Media Day. And after today, it might be very interesting to listen to what these drivers have to say. That's at MRN.com, Media Day, 8 a.m., and that'll take us all the way up to 7 p.m. for a special edition of NASCAR Live, the best of the Daytona 500.
Okay, we are done. We are flat out used up, and big thanks to those that helped call the race today. Over in Turn 1, Dave Moody. Down the back straightaway, Mike Bagley. Over in 4, Kyle Rickey. Busy on pit road today. Winston Kelly was there, Steve Post, and Dylan Welch. Thank you to Rusty Wallace. We'll see him back here for the Duel at Daytona on Thursday. And now for my broadcast partner, Alex Hayden. My name is Just Regal. We congratulate Eric Jones, who kicks off Speed Weeks with a wild win in the Busch Clash.